Fort Worth, Texas might seem like a strange place to host a motorsport where polos are more common than t-shirts, where the choice is wine instead of beer, and where the idea of rubbing fenders is alien at best. Open wheel racing has a romance around it, far from the rough and tumble stock car racing that this racetrack was born from. No, it's not exactly the place you think of when you think of Indy car racing, but that doesn't mean it's not a part of the story of the American open wheel. Tonight, we begin round 3 of the 2019 MYLAPS IndyCar Series, and for past winners Demerit and Branch, rekindling their success at this racetrack is only one of the challenges on their mind. Surviving the race is the other. Stakes are high here in Fort Worth, and though the trophy is big, so are the crashes. Everything's bigger in Texas for the Triptacular Memories 225. Welcome to SimTV, the third round of 2019, the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series. Finian, very excited 1.5 mile racetrack here in Texas. Challenging racetrack, very slick racetrack, and that turn 2 wall will take your carbon fiber, it will spit it out the other side and destroy your race car. So what's your plan to make it through the 150 laps tonight?
Really, I think the thing that these guys want to keep in mind is keeping their cars not just off the walls, but off each other. You know, this is pretty much pack race. These guys are going to be pretty much 3 wide easily for a good amount of this race, or at least until the tires start to wear out. So they're going to be side by side for a good amount of time. You want to make sure you don't hit another driver, because that could easily eliminate you and potentially a lot of other guys from the race, because these guys are going to be pretty much like you see stock cars at Daytona.
So Joe Branch is a past winner here in the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series at Texas Motor Speedway, and he was working his way right now through his qualifying effort. 34 cars on the grid. We're going to take 33 of them to race, so only one driver will go home tonight. Of course, this race is brought to you by Triptacular Memories. This is the Triptacular Memories 225 from Texas. I want to thank them for coming on board and sponsoring the third round of the season. Last time out at Gateway, we had a pretty entertaining race. Lichtenberg, in a controversial finish, ended up coming home with the victory after some contact with another competitor later in the race. But a victory means so much to get your name up on the board here early in the season. We have a long way to go to get to the end of the season, though, Finian. So how much do drivers like Adam Blocker need to win a race? Does it matter that much in a non-win-to-get-in format like we see often in the stock car side of things?
You know, it's going to definitely take these guys, you know, make sure you don't make a mistake. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, we're still at 34 cars?
34 cars.
Yeah, so only one guy's going to be going home. Probably just a matter of, A, make sure you qualify, and B, make sure you don't make a mistake and just try to run the most optimal line that you can. Because if you make a mistake, you could potentially be that one guy going home.
Qualifying almost complete here. Adam Blocker coming on through. There's only a couple cars left to make a lap, but right now it's Chad Simpson at the top of the board, a 23.949. Henry Bennett in this 007 car. He's been just knocking on the door of a victory the last few weeks. I really expect him to get one before the season's out, and he sits 14 thousandths of a second behind Chad Simpson here in qualifying. Jeff Drake, Adam Blocker went 4th quick, then Joshua Chin rounding out your top 5. Tony Shawan in the 31 was a force to be reckoned with last week, ended up getting involved in a couple different collisions. Michele Costantini, another driver we've seen up inside the top 10 for both races. Of course, past winner Christopher Demerit, also in the top 10, 8th place with a 24.013. So 5 minutes left in qualifying, only a few more cars out of the racetrack. Jonathan Goke in the 08, he's out on course right now, coming on through for his first time lap. What's it going to be? Start of the lap. Nope, that is one lap down. It'll be 24th place for Goke, as looks like...
Oh, did he just lose connection?
Might have just lost connection there, unfortunately. Michael Peters in the 3 cars out on course, though. He'll try to get a lap in. And we have 5 minutes left in qualifying, so still some time for... Oh, Jonathan Goke is back. But I don't think that lap is going to count for him.
Yeah, well, at least he beat the one guy, at least one driver, which is all he really needed to do, so he'll be safe in that respect. Michael Peters is going to go right ahead of Goke and run a 24.469, and he's still going. This lap should be faster.
Yeah, we've seen faster laps the second time out, but the racetrack right now is extremely challenging. Take a look at the track temperature right now, 108 degrees, Finney, and that's pretty hot, and Texas is not known for being a very grippy racetrack. Across the line for Peters, and he's going to move up to 20th quick with a 24.126.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see that handling come into play once we get into the race and the tires start to wear out and guys are just behind one another. You can see a lot of guys breaking loose just due to the heat, which seems to only be getting worse as we get more and more guys on the track. Speaking of which, here comes Gabriel Essick.
Ashik is how it's pronounced, and he's
Ashik
going to be out on track in the 00. And you're making mention of the new the number swap here. There used to be those LED boards on the roll hoop, and now it's the number of the car, which is going to help me quite a bit figuring out who is who when they get into accidents. And accidents were what plagued Gateway and Pocono, Finney. And expectations tonight, do you think we're going to see something similar, or do you think it's going to clean up a little bit this evening?
I think it should clean up a little bit. You know, typically short tracks with IndyCar, no matter what series, what league, whether it's fixed or open, no matter what it is, it usually tends to typically be have quite a few cautions in it, just due to a lot of guys going really fast, really close together. Here they got a lot more room to work around and a lot more track to work with.
So Ashik comes out of turn 4. He's going to log one of 2 laps that he's allowed to put down. First time through is going to put him 25th quick, so he's guaranteed a ride in the show. And the question is, how high can he climb up the order here on this second lap? And qualifying around Texas is an interesting conundrum here, Finian, because we know in turn 2, that's where the stock cars always crash, because the banking lifts you up and then drops away on corner X's. So how challenging is it here in an IndyCar?
You know, it's not as much. I would say really the only, definitely when you're riding by yourself, I think more of the trouble comes when you're riding in behind other cars. And I think that's really where turn 2 just being a much tighter corner on exit, especially compared to turn 4. It's a lot easier to hit the wall being stuck in behind someone, getting just the aero wash and going flying into the wall. So I think that's where we're going to see a lot of the issues.
So Ashik goes 21st quick as we work our way through the end of qualifying. About 3 minutes left to go, and there's your starting order, your provisional starting order, starting across the top of your screen there. Wanted to go over the track map once again because this is a racetrack that looks very symmetrical from above, but I can tell you from driving it, it is not symmetrical. Turns 3 and 4, a whole different challenge than turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, and that's just really due to, you know, again, the corner exit. You can see turn 4, much gentler angle, I guess, on exit. I'm not really sure the actual technical terms about that, but it's easier on the exit. Turn 2, a lot tighter on the exit compared to turn 4. And again, that's where I was saying a lot of guys, you typically see a lot of guys get much tighter in turn 2 over the course of a run. In stock cars, IndyCar, again, you're really just dealing with being stuck in behind one another. But really curious in seeing how long these guys can stay side by side and how long that kind of pack will remain. Or if these guys get spread out due to the temperature.
So at the top of your screen there for a moment, there's a lot of drivers that I would consider heavy hitters in this series that did not lay a time down. Matt Kingsbury, Chris Stouffer, Brendan Lichtenberg, last time's winner out at Gateway Motorsports Park, Dakota DiCienzo, Brandon Trost, all drivers that are capable of winning this race. As you see Stouffer now get on the racetrack in his number 13. I think he's going to try to go for a lap. He's running out of time here, though, so he's got to get rolling relatively soon.
Yeah, really, all these guys do need is about a minute and a half. And actually, I say that we're about to get to a minute and a half. So either he's timing this to perfection or cutting it really close here.
Yeah, to go out right at the end, that's a risk.
I am also curious if there might be a guy that left. So it could just be 33. That's probably why they didn't run a time.
That could be the case. Todd Novosad actually did pop in for a moment in that number 34 car. But there's still about 6 or 7 cars that have not laid down a time yet. So I'm curious to see if they're going to lay down a time or if they're just going to let it run out. Looks like they might just let time expire here and to chance it.
At this point, they're not even going to make it around in time, so I think they're just going to let it line themselves up at the back of the grid.
So again, my name is Kyle Heyer. I'm joined by Finney and Dakota Knight. We are SimTV. We got a lot of action on SimTV this week. Right after this is the Yinzer Graphics Unreal Tour, the final race in the regular season from Myrtle Beach, following this race at 9:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow night, the Race Kings Cup Series. They do the same at Myrtle Beach. And then Tuesday, 2 races. We got the Elite Modified Series, sponsored by Speed 51, followed by, actually, no Fuel Cup Series on Tuesday. They're off for a week. With a schedule change due to the build situation. So that has been shifted around a little bit. Wednesday is the Spec MX-5 Sim Racing Challenge. That will be from Watkins Glen International. And then Thursday, do we have Ferrari Challenge this week? I feel like we don't.
Don't think we do.
So then we're going to check in on Saturday night with the Outsider Racing League for their round number 3 at Silverstone. So that's what's coming up on SimTV this week. Keep an eye on the YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram at SimTV Media or on Facebook, SimTV Broadcasting, for more information, especially keeping up with the grid life situation, as well as the Speed 51 thing that we just worked out this week. So very excited about that opportunity as well. So again, you're watching the Triptacular Memories 225 from Texas Motor Speedway. Qualifying complete. Let's grid them up and get ready to go racing for 150 laps here at TMS. Waiting to get the grid here, Finney, and this is not a very long race. This race, if it goes green to the end, about an hour long. That's more of a sprint race than we saw, especially at Pocono. That was a really long race, and also a little bit shorter than Gateway Motorsports Park, Worldwide Technologies Raceway from a few weeks ago. So that's going to change the strategy a little bit. And if you're starting towards the rear, how much urgency is there to get yourself to the front?
You know, honestly, a bit. There's a little bit of urgency. You know, it kind of depends on how the race goes. If we have a lot of cautions at the beginning, which I kind of expect, you know, just due to being 33 guys out here, I think it'll be less urge to get to the front, but we start getting some really nice green flag runs. I think guys are going to get a lot more desperate to use the fresh tires to their advantage to move themselves up the grid, especially if you're one of those fast guys starting to back like Lichtenberg. He didn't by the time he's going to be starting at least further back than 25th after winning last week's race.
So waiting for the start of the event here, just waiting for everyone to get on the grid as we head down to the Turn 1 entry cam. Let's take a look through our starting lineup here tonight, Finian. On the front row, it's going to be Chad Simpson in the number 42. He's from Texas, a homecoming for Simpson alongside Henry Bennett from the UK in that 007. That rounds out your front row here at Texas.
Going back to row number 2, Jeff Drake in the 92 will be starting in third. Outside of him, Adam Blocker in the 74 will be starting in fourth.
In fifth place, Joshua Chin, the number 93, alongside Tony Showen in the 31. He put a qualifying effort in and got himself in a great position to start this race. That is your row number 3.
Back in seventh, we got Michaela Constantini, got it right that time. Almost, sorry. And in eighth, Christopher Demerit.
Past winner here at Texas. Dan Ensch in ninth place, the number 52. He will be starting alongside Bradley Walters, the number 56. That is row number 5.
We'll let the rest of it round out through the bottom of the screen as the pace car is getting ready to go underway here.
Yeah, so we have 33 cars starting the race. Marshall Stanley is the odd man out here. So 33 cars will start, and Stanley out for this race will not qualify into the third round of the season. The Triptacular Memories 225 as we are off and rolling for our 1 pace lap here, Finian. The expectation is to keep your car off the fence for 150 laps. Easier said than done as we enter turn number 1.
Yeah, and again, that problem is even bigger if you're a guy in the back, because obviously you're going to want to go to the front, but you got 32 other guys to pass to get there. So, again, you do have quite a few laps to work with, but again, you also don't want to be just waiting the entire time.
We want to thank MYLAPS for coming on board, sponsoring the Indy Elite Series this season, as well as the Coca-Cola bottling plant of Kokomo. They're on board with us this season, helping out, sponsoring, and we're so excited to be working with them. And get yourself an ice cold Coke, sit down for 150 laps of open wheel racing here on SimTV. Up towards the front, Chad Simpson, your pole sitter. And that is Spark VR on that race car as we get ready to go racing. The Spark VR team, very, very competitive. We've got a lot of cars in this field, and certainly ones to watch here as we roll out of turn number 4. The Ford FR500 pace car is going to peel off the racetrack. 150 laps, 225 miles. Out of the final corner, Simpson's going to take us to the green flag. Green flag flies, racing at Texas, and the 007 bobbles right at the start.
Oh yeah, not a good start for Bennett. He's going to be losing some positions already at the start as everyone gets filed out and underway into turn 1.
Side by side, a single file out front though, that is Simpson all by himself. He is pulled out to an early lead. Off into turn 3, that's Jeff Drake, the 92, second place. It's a hornet's nest behind though, that's Adam Blocker in that blue number 74. And you look off the gearbox, there is all sorts of action happening from 5th on back to 10th.
Yeah, and I think this is really going to be a little bit of a test for a lot of these guys. This is the first time they're running in an entire pack. You know, obviously in practice you're going to be running with a few cars here and there, but when you're getting the arrow wick off of 30 some odd guys ahead of you or 20 guys ahead of you, it's a lot different. So a lot of these guys just kind of be patient and feeling out the car.
Jeff Drake to the outside, looking for the lead on Chad Simpson through turns 3 and 4 on the outside lane. Is there grip up there yet, Finian? It's still pretty early in the race to be trying any line that's not the bottom, but Drake trying to make it work off into 1.
Yeah, you got to be very careful too with the input you put into the car, especially in slick conditions. You can see Drake just kind of diving out of it, being very careful around Simpson, and can't get the move done.
Well, as quick as it's spread out, it is bunched right back up, and now Drake has fallen into the clutches of Henry Bennett, who had a terrible start, and now is trying to get those positions back. That's Chin in the purple number 93 on the outside lane, and it's just an absolute hornet's nest on through 3rd through 5th. Side by side through turns 1 and 2. Not a lot of grip to be dealing with right now, so they got to be careful not to get into each other this early in the race.
Yeah, definitely looking like the middle to bottom lane's really where you want to be at the moment. That seems to be where the grip is. Not so much in the high lane. You see some guys trying to go up high where you can see there's not a whole lot of rubber up there yet.
That's Bradley Walters with that white roll hoop on the blue car, sitting in 7th place right now. That's Christopher Demerit, and that's gray number 144. He is a past winner here at Texas, and what would it mean to him to get a victory this early in the season, back where he has won before? Up front, though, Chad Simpson defending from Jeff Drake. Henry Bennett on the outside into turn 3. They're layered up like F-18 Hornets through 3 and 4.
You see Drake still trying that outside. He's trying to get the lead here. This is probably one of the hardest passes to make is on the lead car. You don't have a lot of draft to really work with other than the lead car himself. You see him just trying to look on that outside lane, and it looks like Bennett just kind of sitting in 3rd, just being patient.
Staggered side by side in the back. Got caution towards the rear of the field. And trying to see, it is Riley Thompson in the number 58 on the front straightaway. He's spun around. I don't see any damage on that car. So it might have been a pretty innocent little spin here for the 58. And...
oh, DiCienzo is really slow.
Oh, yeah. DiCienzo might have gotten a piece of this as well. Let's go back and take a look at it real quick. Find out what happened to these two cars. And I don't think... does DiCienzo... ooh. DiCienzo... oh, he was slowing down for the caution. This wasn't even related. This wasn't why the caution came out. He was just trying to slow down for the yellow and ended up crashing all on his own. That is a horrible way to go out. And into the safer barrier, up and over. So this was not the cause of the caution. This was in reaction to it. Riley Thompson in the 58 was the reason for the yellow. And he was parked. He just lost it in the tri-oval.
He got loose in the tri-oval.
Or the quad-oval, rather, and slid up back onto the racetrack. Thankfully, everyone was able to avoid him here. But kind of a weird wreck.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. I knew it was kind of loose, but not that loose to the point where these guys are getting loose in the quad oval.
Yeah.
And, I think he turned in a little bit too much on the quad oval and just didn't have enough grip.
So let's look at this a little slower here and see if we can, well, actually, we'll go on board here and watch his hands out of turn number 4. And he was right behind, that was the 41 of Niall McBride.
And you can see him just take a little bit wider of an arc through the corner, and it's just enough for the back end to come around. These guys are on a knife's edge here.
And through the grass, he's lucky that that front wing wasn't damaged and slid right through the grass. You see the grass collecting on the tires and managed to keep it off the wall. So good on Riley Thompson there. Going to get some tires, get himself back into position here. But some pit stops have changed the order here as they roll off a pit lane. Jeff Drake rolls off as your leader. Where's the 42? All the way down in 13th place. So that is a big loss for Chad Simpson here on the pit sequence.
Yeah, not sure what happened to him to put him back there. Unless, did everyone else stay out? Or?
I think everyone has...
yeah,
oh, yes, that is correct. So 12 cars stayed out on the racetrack. And from 13th on back, they came to pit lane. So Simpson is the first one with fresh Firestones. And the last car on fresh tire, or older tires rather, is Logan Simmons in that 75, who at Gateway was out pretty much on lap number 1 down in the first corner, had some issues and tried to get off the racetrack before the caution came out, wasn't able to do so, but his number 75 in 12th place here early in the going.
Is that a Porsche badge on the nose that I see?
Looks like it to me, Finian. Well, new engine manufacturer, I guess.
Yeah, they used to be in kart, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not the guy to ask about that.
No, I'm pretty sure that they were. That's my open wheel history. I'm trying to remember, but back to 1 to green quickly here. So we only have, I think actually everyone is still on the lead lap, and we got one guy out, and that's Dakota DiCienzo, unfortunately.
Yeah,
of the 32 guys that took the green.
Yeah, DiCienzo, the only car out of the race after slowing down for the yellow flag, got on the brakes, locked up the rear, spun into the wall. There's Jeff Drake, who started 3rd. He's really only been as low as 3rd, so he's off to a pretty good start in that 92.
Go back to TV3 real quick. Yeah, look at the zoomed in one. Yeah, I was just admiring the reflection off the bodywork with the update.
Well, all right. All right,
Looks
Mr.
really
Bill.
nice.
All right, well, coming through turns 3 and 4, we're going to re-rack them, restack them. Remember, single file restarts here on the IndyCar side of things.
Yeah, that's why you can see everyone going to the outside. You can make a pass on the outside lane. That's why every single person's up next to the wall, so that way you can't make the pass. Only when the green flag's out, mind you. You can't just go flying around. You have to wait till the green flag comes out, then you can try to make a pass on the outside.
So pace car rolling through turns 3 and 4. Going to turn the racetrack back over to Jeff Drake out at turn 4. Green flag going to fly once again. We got 142 laps to go.
Bennett's just not been good on these starts, on the initial start and on this restart. You see Blocker was looking to the inside already, trying to get past Bennett, but of course can't pass him until the start-finish line. There you see him going with Demerit falling in behind him.
Yeah, it's really interesting. That 007 has not been good on the starts, as you mentioned, and he's really stacking up the field behind him.
I think what it is, I think he's probably taking it a little bit easy on the start, maybe starting up a higher gear to make sure he doesn't spin the tires, which you can absolutely do. So I think he's just being a little bit more on the cautious side of things.
Yeah, so Jeff Drake leads this race by 0.6 of a second. I'm curious to see if the pack will be able to run him back down. How much is that draft worth here?
I definitely think they should be able to. I'll be surprised if he does break away, but I think they should be able to track him back down. We can see everyone starting to get bunched up, especially in the middle of the field.
This is Michele Costantini in the 066 on the inside of Joshua Chin. Battle for 6th place. He takes it away and clears himself. Right behind, that was Adam Dock in the number 12 car that got almost up into the fence out of turn 4.
Yeah, Adam Dock and David Adams fighting for 8th place. Adams on the inside.
Whoa, look at this behind him. This is a bit of a chaotic mess back
Whoa.
here. This is about 11th on back. That's Logan Simmons on the inside, that white car with the purple numbers. And then it's Andreas Ike, Tony Shallon, Kinsella. Simpson is back here as well as Ray Kingsbury and Bryant and more.
And Cantelo's trying to just work his way through the pack, as well as a lot of these other guys just moving their way up through the grid at a very slow pace. And then you have a little bit of a second pack here coming through the picture.
Lots of action here. Look at Drake. He's being run back down by the field through turns 1 and 2. Action all over the racetrack, but for the top spot, getting dicey up front. Drake has it. Blocker wants it to the outside lane. Demerit, a pass winner at Texas, looking on from 3rd place.
Yeah, I definitely think the outside is going to be more of a passing lane. You see Blocker going all over the track, trying to get a lane on Drake, but can't get it done. Whoa, and here comes Demerit on the outside.
Way up the top of the racetrack, trying to maybe do a little arc down on corner exit.
And that's where you got to be careful doing that arc, because we saw Thompson get loose in the quad oval, just trying to take an arc through the corner, or through the straightaway, I should say. So you got to be a little bit careful with turning the car.
220 miles an hour plus on the straightaways here. Look at Blocker to the outside again. Demerit chasing them down. Will they go 3 wide? I don't think that's what you want to be doing here early, but running in formation like the Blue Angels out of turn 2. Adam Blocker goes to the lead, and Demerit's going to follow him through to second.
And onwards you go, and let's see how Jeff Drake can manage back in some dirty air. First time he's going to be experiencing that for a little bit. But, and going... Whoa,
car off! It's Bradley Walters in the 56, down to the inside, hits the inside barrier. It's concrete there. Big impact, will stay green, but for Walters, he's out.
Yeah, I think that was exactly what happened to Thompson.
Let's take a quick look at how this started. And this is out of turn 4, the 56, all on his own, I think. I don't know if they made contact.
Oh, no, he hit the wall.
And they was kind of run up the racetrack maybe a little bit by the 92, but that's a hard call to make. But the 56 out of the race, certainly big damage on that 56. Got himself off the racetrack. Let's head back up to the top spot, though. Blocker trying to do what his name implies, keep that 144 behind him.
Demerit just trying to get a lane on the outside. These guys actually breaking away from the rest of the pack. Surprisingly so, it's about a 1 second gap to Michele Costantini.
Side by side for the lead. Blocker and Demerit, Costantini behind. Then it's Jeff Drake, Henry Bennett, and more. Out of turn 4, though, there's a lot of action towards the midfield. There is Simon Bryant. His teammate just hit the wall down there out of turn 4 last time. Adam Plunkett, another one of those team cars. And they're trying to make up for the loss of that 56 car of Walters. Towards the front again. Demerit takes the lead away from Blocker and tries to stretch the gap on him right now.
Yeah, see Sim Autosport cars in that group. Unfortunately, one of them being out early on. And here you see we're looking at Joshua Chin getting around Jeff Drake, who's been slowly falling back. I think just trying to find a place in this line.
Joshua Chin in 5th place right now. And working his way on the back straightaway, got Craig Setup Shop on the side of that car entering turn 3. Ray Kingsbury in the middle of a mess back here for about 8th or 9th place. There's a whole hornet's nest of cars. 3 wide for a moment out of turn 4. We're working our way through lap number 20, getting really dicey up here in this pack.
Someone just went through the grass.
Andreas Ike in the 76, I think we got more. Niall McBride in the 21. He's off, as is Ike in the 76. So another multi-car accident. We'll throw the yellow here for the 2nd time today. And let's go back and take a look at how this happened. This is the 76 of Ike. Just, wow, went for a ride. Ooh, that was a nasty impact into the fence. And what happened to McBride? I think he was behind all this.
Oh,
no, yeah, he was behind. And ooh, yeah, he broke something big time. Oh, man, who was that just got by? Is it Rob Powers maybe in the 47? I don't know if he saw all this. No. Lichtenberg, I think. Here's a look from on board the 10.
Yeah, Lichtenberg second in the points right now. Got his riding in the back of the field.
Wow!
Whoa, he did a great job saving it. The back end came out of him as he's starting to brake for that.
I don't think the back end was the only thing that just came out of him there. Look at this out of turn 4. Watch how close this is to being a disaster. Wow! Whoa. That couldn't have been an inch or more. How close that was there. Yeah,
and a phenomenal save, too. And unfortunately for McBride, just tapped the wall and it broke the steering. You saw him try to turn, but he had no response on the car and went flying into the wall.
Well, pit stop's underway again. This time the whole field's going to come down. Maybe not. I think that's Logan's... Nope, Logan Simmons is not staying out. That is Jonathan Goke in the number 08 that's going to stay out on the racetrack, but the rest of the field comes to pit lane. So you have to imagine there's some strategy going on for that 08 car, but our leaders are on in to the pit lane.
Yep, and not a whole lot of strategy for IndyCar. Pretty much just every time taking tires and some fuel.
You're going to want 4 tires and fuel pretty much every time you come on down here. And it looks like The 144 of Demerit's going to lead the way off of pit lane. And up front, got a couple cars that have played some strategy. Brandon Trost, another one of those drivers. And he's got 15 laps in his tires. And Matt Kingsbury, actually Kingsbury was the first one off of the pit lane. He just came down and actually didn't record a time, so maybe just drove straight through pit lane to pick up a couple spots here. So Kingsbury, we haven't talked a whole lot about the Kingsbury brothers yet, Ray and Matt. And so far, Matt Kingsbury started 28th. He is up to 3rd place now. And Ray Kingsbury, of course, has not been a spectacular day so far. Sitting in 11th. He started 11th, so he's pretty much exactly where he started the race. And he's only been as high as 9th.
And really just doing what he needs to do, just getting solid points, because he is our points leader at the moment and doing a phenomenal job in these first 2 races of the season. But you guys coming on down a pit road.
Yeah, that was Gokart down on a pit lane, and Brandon Trost is actually going to stay out on the racetrack in the 66. He's got 15 laps on the tires. Probably a risky call here, but maybe worth a try early.
I would say, honestly, just come in, just due to the conditions. Obviously not really the tire wear, but obviously we're seeing that the track is very slick. We've seen quite a few incidents just being caused by the track being so hot. I think you want to get as much grip with those tires as you can, especially when you're in that pack and guys are constantly going around you, splitting you 3 wide, and so I don't think you want to be on loose and old tires.
So 23 laps into our 150-lap race tonight. We've had 2 cautions so far, 7 lead changes towards the front of the field, so it hasn't been without action. The races in the past couple weeks have gone like this. We have a couple cautions early, then it cleans up for about 75 to 100 laps, and then we might have a little spurt more towards the end of some cars making contact. But it seems like turn 4 has actually been more of the trouble spot than anything, or even through the quad oval. Turn 2, which is typically the trouble spot, not so bad so far tonight.
I think these guys not really having problems with each other, as I would have thought. They're having more problems with the track. They've done a great job giving each other room, but just getting loose in parts of the track, I'm sure they wouldn't think that they would get loose. They're having trouble doing so.
How about Brandon Trost in the 66? Started in 30th place and is currently leading the way as we get the 1 to green here. Up 29 spots. So if he gets a quick yellow here in the next 10 to 15 laps and doesn't drop down the field too much, this is a great strategy call for the 66. So I'm on board with this. We'll just see how it works out.
Yeah, again, you just got to be extremely careful on how he manages his car, getting it back up to speed with older tires compared to the guys in behind it, because they're just going to try to blow around him as soon as they can.
Well, again, you're watching the Triptacular Memories 225 here from Texas Motor Speedway. We want to thank our other sponsors, MYLAPS, for coming on board, sponsoring the Indy Elite Series for 2019, as well as the Coca-Cola bottling plant of Kokomo. They're watching right now, as they always are, and we want to thank them so much for coming on board. And again, grab yourself an ice cold Coke if you haven't so far, and sit down to watch the remaining 125 laps of this race. We got a long way to go, about 50 minutes worth of racing here from Texas Motor Speedway. Trost goes up to the top of the racetrack to protect that outside lane, as you do here on an open wheel restart. Ooh, now he's going to dip down behind the pace car. Try to bring the 144 Demerit with him, maybe to leave Adam Blocker to try to stick his nose up in the outside lane.
Lap car in behind him, the number 4, but he gets back going. Green flag back in the air here at Texas.
Up to speed, the 007 again, being very careful on the restarts, but it's costing them positions. Costantini to the outside of Bennett down into turn 1, who's going to try to take that spot away.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of these guys are not too happy with the way Bennett's taking these starts. You already see a gap forming between Bennett and Blocker.
We've seen the restarts really spread out for the first lap, and then they kind of accordion back together, and that's where we were seeing the incidents. We haven't really gotten past that 10 to 15 lap mark yet, where you can kind of get yourself into a rhythm. You see behind Bennett, it's just an all-out drag race down the front straightaway. That's Jeff Drake in the outside lane behind, and it's Costantini and Joshua Chin. They've been around each other plenty tonight.
And how about Showen in the middle of that was trying to make a pass, and Costantini couldn't get it done.
Whoa! Almost forced the 93 into the wall down there on the back straightaway. 3 wide off into turn 3. That's going to get dicey.
Yeah, I was trying to clear ahead of Chin, but couldn't get it done. Now Chin working on the outside of Showen.
On the front straightaway again for position, for second place, and for the lead. Demerit goes to the top spot. Trost gets shuffled to 3rd. There's a lap car in the mix as well. That's Flynn Lazier in the number 4. And
whoa, almost touching tires with Trost.
That was really dicey. Off into 3, now Blocker to the outside lane. Trying to use the momentum. I don't know if there's enough rubber up there to carry the speed, but he's going to try in the outside of turn 4.
Oh.
The 4 car, Lazier, gets in the fence, and now Trost goes on the inside.
Yeah, it's going to check out some guys in behind that 4 car. You want to be careful, too, when you hit the wall. I'm not sure how your car is handling. Looks like he's fine for now.
Yeah, it's going to stack up a lot of cars on the exit of turn 2 here, though. And that is the 92 of Jeff Drake working his way by. Up for the top spot, though, for the lead. Blocker has gone through and taken it away from Demerit. So up at the top spot, that 74 car gets a taste of the front.
These two have broken away from the rest of the field. Everyone else slowly falling on back. You see Brandon Truss kind of struggling as he gets swallowed up by the rest of the pack.
And there's the 4 of Flynn Lazier on the inside. That's riding on board with Logan Simmons. And Shawan gets stacked up behind, and Chin's going to... Actually, it's not Chin. It is Chin in the purple number 93. Had to kind of back out of it there. Adam Plunkett, the blue car on the outside lane. Sadie Sim Sport car, or Auto Sport car, whatever they call themselves.
Sadie Sim Autosport.
Sim Autosport. One of the two. Top spot again. Demerit looks to the outside of Blocker. Where's the best place to make a move? I would think the outside lane, but I just don't know if it's there yet.
It's kind of hard to really make the run. I would say the best bet is that, but caution is out.
Ooh, looks like a bigger one.
Logan Simmons involved.
Oh, Tony Shawan also. Whoa, we got cars tumbling on the back straightaway.
Oh, this is a huge crash.
Trying to grab the right cars. Tony Shawan. Ooh, that's nasty looking.
Yeah, wow.
Dan Lee Ench managed to get through in his Spark VR car. Shawan destroyed. I'm going to guess it starts maybe with the 31, but we're going to have to go back a little ways and try to find out. Maybe it was Simmons in the 75 because he was up the road. Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Got loose and...
Yeah. He clipped the apron in turn 2.
Oh, he's going to get clobbered. Shawan up and over. Tumbling on the back straightaway. Chin takes evasive action. Does he get through it? He does. And then, ooh, that was the 13 car driven by...
Oh, and that's Lichtenberg, I think.
Oh, man.
Squeezing his way on through.
13 car is Chris Stouffer.
There was I think Matt Kingsbury is also involved as well.
Yeah, I think Kingsbury was the other car. The other Spark VR car tumbling at the back here. His onboard view in slow motion here.
And he's just trying to pick a lane to go.
Oh, he gets clobbered from somebody.
That might have been Rob Powers in the 47.
Wow. Oh. This is a nasty accident here. Here's another look from Rob Powers on board. This is going to get interesting. So Matt Kingsbury is going to jump on the binders here, seeing this wreck, and I think the 47 does as well. He slips. Same thing that happened to DiCienzo, up and over the top of Kingsbury into the catch fence. We got to look at this in full speed.
Yeah, you kind of see how quick this kind of stuff happens. So wreck's happening, trying to get slow down.
Oh, wow. Oh, what a nasty impact. And some drivers went underneath them. That was the 12 of Adam Dock. And I think we're going to have to ride on board with the 12 just to get his perspective of this accident. Looks like that Formula 3 crash from Monza the other day.
Yeah.
Let's ride on board as well with the 31 of Shawan, because he was the one that really was the biggest victim in all this.
Yeah, you see just ahead, Simmons clipping the inside of turn 2. Tried to avoid it, thought he was clear. He gets flipped end over end.
And again, the 13 gets into him there. Spun around. Look at that. Oh. One more time here. And you think you're clear, you think you've made it through, and then right here you're going to get clobbered and just tumbling over. Look at it, just catch air like that and act like a sail up into the air.
Yeah, just look how much, I'm just amazed at how much body damage he had as he got, look at the entire back end of that car gone, all the bodywork gone off of it.
Yeah, I wanted to get one more, even slower look at this. We'll go back a little bit farther here and just watch this. Incredible. Watch this thing as it gets in the air. It's just going to lift off like an airplane as the arrow turns upside down. Wow. Violent wreck for Shawan. That's going to be the end of his night. And there comes the, wow, the 93 of Joshua Chin just made it through. And then here comes the 13 of Chris Stouffer and got into the side of the 31, rips the engine cover off, and he's just a spinning top at that point. And then Lichtenberg just makes it through. So the 31 of Shawan, Kingsbury, Logan Simmons, Rob Powers, and Flynn Lazier. Actually, Flynn Lazier not involved. He's still out on the racetrack, but those other drivers I mentioned out of the race for the night. All right, 33 laps in. We're a fifth of the way through this one, Finian. 3 cautions, 9 lead changes towards the front, but I think our favorite's got to be Blocker, Demerit, and possibly Jeff Drake. But Henry Bennett is up here, but his restarts have not been very good. So if these are short runs, he's in trouble.
I'm actually, part of me kind of wants to ride along with him. I'm curious if he's starting in second gear, which is kind of bogging down, because I see kind of the fear, especially in the old Indy car, I think the RL05, I want to say this is a chassis. You get a lot of wheel spin in first gear. You almost have to start in second gear on the ovals with that car. The DW12 and the IR18 kind of, you can pretty much get away with first, but I think he's really worried about the tire temps and the wheels spinning, so he's been extremely careful. So I kind of want to ride on board with him for this start, because this is consistently he's not been getting up to speed as well as other competitors.
Yeah, I think we will ride on board with him for the restart here again. Track conditions, how about this? It has raised a couple degrees on the racetrack, which is not going to make this any easier as we make our way through this race. Still a long way to go, and I expect this track temp to continue to rise and make the track even slipperier than it was before.
Yeah, I'm sure these guys wishing that they had night to work with at Texas.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
Where they actually do run this race at night,
yes.
So I'm sure they would much prefer that with more grip that you would have.
And no night version of this racetrack yet available in the iRacing.com motorsport simulation platform as we work our way towards getting all the racetracks that have night configurations set up and ready to go. Adam Blocker is going to lead us back to the restart, but you wanted to ride on board with Henry Bennett, so we're going to do that. And we're going to keep an eye on that gear indicator on the screen in first gear. And again, not a good launch.
Yeah, so he started in first, is just very timid on the throttle. And Costantini, having no patience with him, is going to go to the outside and try to make a pass.
Yeah, and again, that was really not what we wanted to see. I think the 007 is kind of holding these cars back and causing these little stack-ups here. But, you know, maybe being careful is the right thing to do here. I mean, we've seen so many drivers not be careful so far, and it has hurt them. But Costantini aggressive on the outside lane, trying to get by the 14. Yeah. That's Kinsella there on the inside.
Tell's done a fantastic job. He's moved up quite a few spots from the back of the pack, but up for the front, Demerit and Blocker now going for it.
Side by side, Demerit and Blocker. Blocker on the outside, Demerit on the inside. Which lane is going to prevail here after the restart? It looks like the inside lane might be the place to be on fresh tires here, but they are not on fresh tires, let me remind you. They're on about 14-lap old tires, at least up front. Blocker to the outside lane again into 74. Caution again towards the back. It's Tross this time in the 66. It looks like that might have just been a spin. I don't see any damage on this car, and I think, thankfully, this is the only car involved in this incident. Let's go back and take a look here. Let's go back a little farther than that. And I'm going to imagine this is very similar. Ooh.
Oh, no, had some contact.
Yeah. It's one of the Sadie's Sim Auto Sport cars. It was the... I'm trying to see which car that
was
potentially... Go into the slow motion here, get a better look. The 88 of David Adams.
Oh, yeah.
And right out of turn 4. What's your call on that one there, Finian?
I don't know.
That's two cars going for the same spot. I don't really know if you could blame it on either one of them.
Yeah, rewind it again.
Maybe we'll go from up high above here, get a little bit better view of it. I mean, one could argue that the 66 should have stayed lower here, but also the natural progressions for the 88 to track out, but you know,
yeah, I think that's a race. This is a racing incident.
Racing incident for me as well. Don't know if those drivers will agree on that situation.
On the bright side, both got away without any damage, at least from what I can see. Any major damage to their cars.
So we're going to jump to a quick break, sponsored by MYLAPS, while these guys come down to pit lane. No, they won't. So we'll be right back in just a moment.
To get the best result, it's all about ambition, hard work, and doing the right things right. In 1982, two Dutch brothers invented an automatic way to time RC races. The system of the company, called AMB-IT, was quickly adopted by pro racing series like NASCAR and IndyCar. Automated timing for mass participation sport events was also invented in the Netherlands by Champion Chip in the early 90s. Giving athletes a personal chip time of their performance. In 2008, the two companies joined forces and MYLAPS Sports Timing was born. We never stop innovating with state-of-the-art timing systems and digital services to enhance the event experience. With our X2 platform, we bring motorsports timing to a whole new level with two-way communication. Our event app and photo video create the ultimate event experience for athletes and fans with live data and personal content like photos and videos. SpeedHive provides a pro-level racing experience for amateur and club events by analyzing personal data. We capture performances of over 20 million racers and athletes every year and use live data to spark emotions. MYLAPS. Experience progress.
Welcome back to SimTV, and you just saw the advertisement there by MYLAPS, who's come on board to sponsor the Indy Elite Series in 2019. We actually ran into MYLAPS stuff down at Grid Life South a few weeks ago in Road Atlanta. Our buddy DJ Alessandrini has the MYLAPS sticker on the front bumper of his Honda Civic Si. And of course, DJ Alessandrini right now competing in Road America for the Grid Life Road America festival out there right now, and bringing that MYLAPS transponder on board the whole time. So I've heard DJ's had a pretty decent weekend, a couple top fives, but one driver from Grid Life that's had a spectacular weekend, Aaron Lichty, in his K-swapped Miata. That car has been absolutely destroying the field at Road America with those long straightaways. If you want to hear more about the Grid Life crew, we're doing videos called Meet GLTC every Friday night at 10 p.m. We're premiering one episode for the next 5 weeks. We've done 2 of the 7 drivers we interviewed, and those will air on our channel on Friday night at 10 p.m. If you want to learn more about Grid Life Touring Cup, head over to grid.life to read more about it. I know it's a spectacular way to get into some sports car racing in North America. The entry fee for Road Atlanta, Finian, $300. That's like half of what a track with the BMW club costs. And you get hours of on-track time, and you get to race with some spectacular drivers.
Yeah, you get to race with some spectacular drivers and some spectacular cars. A lot of, and again, the beauty of it is you can pretty much, as long as it fits the basic regulations in place, you can pretty much show up with whatever you want for the most part. And
there's a Honda Odyssey racing in it.
Yeah.
And K-Swap Miata and Honda Civics. And
a lot of Honda Civics and a lot of Miatas.
A lot of Civics, a lot of Miatas. There's a couple Mustangs, a Volvo in there. There's all sorts of cool stuff racing in that series. So we're glad to be a part of the Grid Life festivals. I visited Midwest over in June, and Finian and I went down to South last weekend, or a couple weeks ago. It's a fun series to be a part of, and looking forward to the future with the Grid Life crew. All right, coming to our restart here, lap number 42 of 150, closing in the 1/3 of the race mark. Demerit and Blocker have been the way to go so far. We're going to run on board with Michele Costantini here for the restart, and following Henry Bennett, who's been struggling.
I'm actually surprised he's not stalking the outside of him.
There he goes. He's going to back off.
Actually, I'm actually surprised that he's doing so. He's being very patient with him. I would have just honestly blown by him because, like I said, once the green flag's actually out, you're free to pass on the outside, but he's been sticking in behind Bennett, they didn't lose that much time to them last time through.
One driver that's creeping up into the picture is Andrew Kinsella in this number 14 car. He started in 14th. He's up 8 spots. He's been as high as 5th place, but this aquamarine colored car is really, really competitive. We've seen in the last couple weeks be a threat to win the race. He could probably do it again here tonight. Up towards the front, though, Demerit and Blocker still side by side, locked in the fight like they've had all night long.
And they're continuing to pretty much break away from everyone else, though Bennett and a lot of others are still very close in behind them.
Off into turn 3, Blocker on the outside lane. You see the track beginning to take some rubber down, Finian. That Firestone rubber kind of getting inlaid into the racetrack. The inside lane has more of it, though, but the outside certainly getting more and more competitive as the night goes on. Track conditions still rising temperatures.
Yeah, I'm sure these guys are going to be loving, though, that extra rubber that's down. It makes the car a lot more glued to the track than it would have been earlier in the race. So they can definitely use that to their advantage. Again, though, we've seen quite a few incidents happen on the front straightaway and back straightaway.
Out of turn 4, again for the lead. Blocker trying to hold on to that rear wing of the 144. Isn't it? You know what the 144 reminds me of is Chris Tuttle's Corvette paint scheme. It looks a lot like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
I keep thinking of it every time I see it.
Yeah.
On the back straightaway now. Behind them, Andrew Kinsella into 5th place. There's a big battle going on here. That's Joshua Chin, the 93, and then Simon Bryant, Jonathan Goke, Jeff Drake, and more, all in the middle of a fight. This is all back here for around 10th place.
Oh, and they're getting a little bit close quarters here. Drake, who was up in the front earlier, has been put back in quite a bit of traffic and hasn't really been able to recover since. Hopefully you can see him back in the front, but you can see some of the leaders closing in. Bennett's now closing in on Blocker and Demerit.
Watching this fight continue back here for 8th place. And 7th place, Brendan Lichtenberg just narrowly missed a bad accident the last time out. Trying to work his way up inside the top 5. He sits at 7th right now. Jump up to the top spot again. Demerit and Blocker still going at it, but I'm keeping an eye on Kinsella because he is coming forward. Working over 4th place, Costantini. That's Ray Kingsbury, the Pocono winner on the inside lane.
Yeah, Pocono winner and our current points leader is still fighting with those guys. You see Blocker working still around the outside of Demerit. He's just been kind of sitting in behind and enjoying the fact that he's in second place. You see him starting to eke out yet again from third.
So why is Blocker, why don't you just sit behind, save some fuel, and try to pull away from the field? What incentive is there to lead the race now for Blocker?
Honestly, I really wouldn't say there's a whole lot. If anything, if I were him, I would just kind of sit in behind, just ride single file. Because they seem to be significantly faster than a lot of the other guys behind. Because remember, this is open setup for these guys compared to a lot of the fixed leagues that we usually broadcast. So, definitely the setup's going to matter, and you have a chance of breaking away from the rest of the field.
Lichtenberg, David Adams working over 7th place. So Lichtenberg back 1 spot. Then Joshua Chin on the inside. There's one of those Spark VR cars. That's Jonathan Gok on the outside lane. Drag race down the back straightaway. Gok on the outside lane, and he's having a pretty decent race so far. Starting 26th. He's up to 11th place right now.
Yeah, trying to work around Joshua Chin, although Chin's definitely been forced to reckon with no matter what track we're at. He's probably consistently one of the hardest guys to get around.
And, talk about the aero push as well. You see the 08 lift off the throttle to try to get that car to rotate. These cars don't put out a huge aero wash, but it's enough to kind of be a consideration as the tires begin to wear out.
Yeah, definitely could be worse. Could be in a stock car, as we were watching the race earlier today. Those guys couldn't pass at all. At least here you can be a lot more nimble through the corners. These guys are using to their advantage.
You saw that we're about 28 laps into a tire and fuel run for a lot of these drivers. Demerit leads the way by about a half a second over Adam Blocker, making it a little bit more than now, 7/10 of a second. Kinsella and David Adams fighting for 6th place now.
Yeah, and up towards the front, it looks like Bennett's starting to close that gap. It looks like Blocker's really falling off the pace.
He's struggling. Behind Ray Kingsbury to the outside lane of Costantini. Down into turn 1. Ooh, Costantini pulls right across the nose of Kingsbury.
Yeah, you're talking about the outside lane early on. There you see Kingsbury using it to his advantage. Going to take a run on Costantini to the inside now looking.
Back straightaway, a fight for 4th and a fight for 6th. David Adams and Kinsella fighting for the spot. Here's Lichtenberg now in that silver car approaching the picture.
Lichtenberg, who's been very quiet in the early part of the race, staying in the back of the pack, is now starting to move his way to the front. All the crashes seem to happen, and he's making his time to strike.
We're now with Joshua Chin. And he's lost a couple spots so far tonight, but he's up from his lowest of the evening, from 13th. He's trying to climb up the order. But for 2nd place, you mentioned Blocker and Bennett. But look at this 3-wide situation. Bryant on the inside, and that's Gok on the other way around there.
Yeah,
that was
Chin is struggling. He had to back out of that. He's going to lose 3 spots within half a lap. So Chin not going forward, but going backwards.
Ooh, this is getting dicey for 2nd place. Blocker, Bennett, Kingsbury, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Kingsbury to the inside lane, right underneath Bennett. Whoa, a slip there on the bottom of the racetrack. Bennett's going to try to cross him over out of turn 4, but Kingsbury, with an aggressive move, takes 3rd place away.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think if he's trying to make a move to the outside of Blocker in the turn, but that made him lose quite a bit of time. Still this battle going on in behind Kinsella for 6th.
Ooh, Kinsella on the outside lane. There's Lichtenberg in behind him. And all strung out single file. Simon Bryant following this fight in that number 22, and he's got Gok to the inside. Trying to climb up the order. And this is getting really dicey. When you're following cars this close, Finney, and there's not a whole lot of room for error.
Yeah, it really is. You want to be very careful doing so, especially through the quad oval, as we've seen quite a few wrecks happen. So a lot of these guys definitely watching themselves through there. Although it looks like these guys are pretty fine once you get to the corner.
Lap 56 complete. We're well past the 1/3 mark, heading towards halfway now. Halfway will be lap number 75, which is approximately 20 laps.
A battle for 4th place seems between Bennett and Costantini. Costantini trying to finally get around the 007.
And will not be able to make that pass. David Adams up into 6th place. Jonathan Gok right behind. That's one of those Spark VR cars. Down to the inside lane, we saw a couple cars hit the apron earlier. Look how close they are getting to that bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, that's the kind of the big problem, is that you don't want to hit the apron when you want to run as close as you possibly can to it if you're on the inside line. It's the fastest way around, but we saw Logan Simmons ran a little bit too close on the apron, bit him.
Kinsella way up the racetrack. Not a lot of rubber out there, but trying to carry the momentum onto the back straightaway now. Working over Lichtenberg, and Lichtenberg trying to break inside the top 10, and he's been falling back a few spots, actually, the last little bit, so he's struggling right now. Up towards the front, though, Blocker, Costantini, that yellow car has gotten around Henry Bennett in the 007.
Yeah, Bennett and Blocker are starting to lose some ground, while Kingsbury and Costantini have been making a fantastic charge up toward the front. You see Costantini getting clear of Blocker, and now going to continue on to Ray Kingsbury up the road.
Last time by, Costantini was the second quickest car on the racetrack. The quickest one, Christopher Demerit, out front by 2.2 seconds. What a lead he's got going.
And he's expanding that lead. He's completely clear of the draft and doesn't have to worry about any of the guys behind him. He's done a phenomenal job as a lot of guys starting to get spread out and settle for the long haul.
"60 laps complete here at Texas Motor Speedway in the Triptacular Memories 225. Demerit leads the way, but behind him there's all sorts of action. Bennett, Gok, and Blocker all locked in a fight for fourth.
It doesn't look like it's going to be too much of a fight. Blocker and Bennett both just falling back, not really able to compete with a lot of the guys. You see Gok on the inside. Looks like he's going to get by with relative ease.
Blocker tucks in behind Gok, and now Bennett dropping down the order. It seems like he's struggling right now with the handling of that race car. And the restarts have not been kind to him as well, so there is Gok now clearing himself off Adam Blocker, but Blocker trying to fight back on the outside lane, carrying a lot of speed through the corner. How about 209 miles an hour through the corner in 1 and 2?
And they're actually going to be able to keep Gok in behind him. Gok wasn't able to charge on by on the inside. He's going to have to try again on Adam Blocker for 4th place.
Simon Bryant, Brendan Lichtenberg. This is a fight for 8th place. Remember Lichtenberg's controversial win at Gateway a few weeks ago. There was a lot of contact in the closing laps of that race. Lichtenberg came out on top. Lots of discussion in the pit area about the driver behind the wheel of that number 10. But he won a race. That's all that matters there, Finian. And right now, solidly inside the top 10 and trying to just get a decent points net out of this.
Yeah, remember, he's chasing down Ray Kingsbury. He's running a phenomenal race in 2nd, so Lichtenberg has a lot of work to do before the night's over to try to minimize that gap.
Yeah, still right now it's Demerit just running a lot quicker than everybody else. 1.5 quicker last time by than Ray Kingsbury, who sits 2nd at the moment. So Demerit continues to stretch his lead. It's 3 seconds now over Kingsbury, Costantini, Blocker, and Gok. Gok now backed up to Bennett, and there is David Adams in the 88. Right now, he started in 16th, so a good run so far for the 88 car.
See him just trying to get a run on Bennett, who's not been able to really defend from a lot of guys just kind of riding in up here.
Down onto the pit lane, and
that car looks like it's crapping a bit.
Yeah, some big damage on the number 10 car, it looks like.
Well, maybe he's just coming in for a pit stop.
Could be. I gotta go back and look at it here. I didn't see anything that would have led to...
I guess, oh.
Maybe he's just coming in for a scheduled stop here, Finian. 44 laps into a run, potentially. I think he just came on in. So no doubt, we thought he was damaged, but it doesn't look like he is. So just an awkward pit entrance. And back out on the racetrack, he'll be 1 lap down. Is this going to spur a bunch of pit stops here? Looks like Brendan Tross followed him in.
Oh, he got a damaged wing. Not sure how he got that.
Yeah, he spun out earlier, but I don't remember seeing any contact.
Well, they should have fixed that.
No, maybe he didn't come to pit lane. How long has he been out of the racetrack? Ooh, no, he has not been to pit lane. He's just been around for a wreck.
Oh, okay, that would explain a lot.
Out of turn 4. All on his own, got loose, corrected, and he's probably going to hit the ground here pretty hard. And there it is. There's the bent wing. Kept it straight. Ooh.
Whoa, oh yeah, that really did it in right there at the end.
Yeah, launched over, and it's going to be the end of the night for the 66 Tross. Too much damage on that car to repair, unfortunate for him. Blocker in 4th, still trying to hold Gok behind him. But waiting for the pit stop sequence to begin and end here. 46 laps on the tires for Christopher Demerit, your leader. A little bit less than that for some drivers behind him.
Yeah, it looks like Lichtenberg's on a very unorthodox strategy, although, again, with the driver of his caliber, I imagine he knows what he's doing, so he's going to be on a different strategy compared to a majority of the field.
Started 29th, so pretty much everything is up from there. And Go clears the 74, pulls up right in front of him on the front straight. That got a bit dicey.
Indeed it did. I don't think we're quite done yet. These two guys have been going back at it for quite a while.
Costantini in 3rd place, trying to close in on Ray Kingsbury. He was actually quicker than last time.
I was going to say he's been quicker by about half a second, or half a tenth of a second. Every single lapse has been slowly reeling in Kingsbury.
Kinsella's dropped down the order quite a bit on this run. Sits 12th right now. And just got passed by Frank Levick, the 4th.
Yeah, was high as about 6th when this run started. Now slowly falling back to 13th as Levick, the 4th, passes him. He's got Joe Branch in behind him.
Another one of those Spark VR cars. How about the MYLAPS sponsor, number 28, Joe Branch, has been victorious here in the past so much tonight. Not really been a night to talk about just yet. He's cracked the top 10, but not much beyond that. And looks like we got some pit stops underway up front. Christopher Demerit makes the pit lane. Some smoke.
That looks like engine smoke, too. I don't think that's tire smoke. Unless it is.
Back to a quick look as these guys come on in. No, I think Demerit just locked it up. Ooh, that was dicey.
Oh, he actually looped it around completely.
Yeah, here's a look on board for the leader.
Yeah, this is going to cost him big time.
Yeah, big mistake here.
Yeah, almost had it relatively corrected, but then gassed it up. Around he went.
So that's going to cost him a lot of time on the racetrack.
He got passed by Constantini on before pit road, so that's easily going to put Kingsbury up in front.
So Demerit makes a big mistake on the pit stop. So our Pocono winner sitting in the catbird seat here to take over the lead. On the front straightaway, some more pit stops. Henry Bennett down and into his box. Adam Blocker is there as well. Jeff Drake, Kinsella, Peters, and more.
Ooh.
Peters into his box, makes it in, and not quite.
Too far to the left. Yeah, he's going to have to back all the way up.
This is going to be disastrous for the three of Michael Peters.
Yeah, they finally got it.
Okay, that's not exactly the way I would have done it, but hasn't really been a great night for the three. He's going to pull off the pit lane and probably lose a couple more laps in the process. Kingsbury is your leader, Finian, and probably going to stay this way because of Demerit's issues on the pit lane. What's the strategy for Kingsbury? How long do you stay out if you're the 25?
I mean, really, just kind of find your magic number. Everyone has a different one. I imagine he has to be. All these guys have to make at least one more stop. But I think Kingsbury's just gonna stay out here, potentially wait in case a caution comes up, because we did get mighty close a few times under this pit stop sequence so far to getting a caution. I think he's just trying to run out these tires, and considering he's effectively going to have the lead due to the big mistake that Demerit made, I think that's what he's going to be counting on.
Halfway at the line here for the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series. The Triptacular Memories 225, closing in on that halfway marker as we come out of turn number 4, and Kingsbury is going to lead at the halfway point. We'll slip it and sliding a little bit in that 25.
I would probably come in about now. As he's dirt tracking it out there, going sideways out of the turns. We'll probably see him do something similar maybe in turn 2. But we got Riley Thompson down on pit road after he went for a slide earlier in the race.
He's actually recovering quite a bit. After starting 22nd, as high as 8th, he had that spin early in the races. Recovered, was running up inside the top 15 when he came down to pit lane. So still some work to do, but we're looking a little bit better. Joshua Chin on to pit lane now from 8th place.
Oh, and Chin went in too deep. Oh, he's going to get it corrected pretty easily.
On and back off. Flynn Lazier, his night has not been great. He's 3 laps down right now in 22nd. Michele Constantini comes, or he's working his way around some lap traffic there, and here comes Christopher Demerit in the 144, and they're going to be battling for what will eventually be 2nd place.
Yeah, they came out together on the pit road, and there you see Constantini give him the lane, but here comes Ray Kingsbury, our race leader. He's going to come on down pit road.
Yeah, so now they have about a lap to catch that 25 before he comes back out of the pit lane. So battle for the 2nd place has turned over to Demerit, and they got to chase down that 25 before he leaves the pit box. So where is Kingsbury? How long is he going to be sitting in that box for? Going to get dicey
dropping
here.
Now. There, you see him drop. I think he might end up being behind them.
Where are the rest of them? Here comes Demerit out of turn 4, and they're going to be carrying a whole head of steam. And there is the 25 on the apron. Right up the road there on the left-hand side of your screen, and right on by goes Demerit. So an undercut has worked to put the 144 back in the lead despite his problems.
But he's got a competitor right in behind him with Constantini, and also got Kingsbury on significantly fresher tires. He's going to be chasing these guys down.
Jonathan Goat from the lead. He comes down to the pit lane. Chad Simpson in the 42, hoping for a yellow maybe. This would be a great way for the 42 to get some of that track position back.
Stay on. It looks like he's going to pass everyone else, although it looks like Joe Branch is currently in the lead in the 28 car.
Working over lap number 80, and that's the 4 to his outside. It's Flynn Lazier trying to get a lap back.
Yeah, I think he's coming in this time by.
Onto the pit lane here. This is such a tricky pit lane entrance, and Branch has been very conservative, and that yellow line right here is where that pit lane speed starts down to 50 miles an hour, and Branch is on to pit lane. Chad Simpson leads the way, one of the Spartan VR drivers, hoping and praying for a yellow flag to fly that would lock most of the field a lap down here, but I think we're kind of getting to the point where that's going out the window, because now Demerit, Constantini, Blocker, and others who have already pitted are back on the lead lap.
Yeah, question though, how much longer can this 42 stay on out there? I can't imagine it's a whole lot longer.
Well, Ray Kingsbury in the middle of a big fight right here. This is all for position. Blocker, Lichtenberg, and more. There's David Adams. This is a fight for 5th place, and Kingsbury's going to take it and run.
Yeah, he's going to take it and run. He's not really worried about these guys. He's more worried about Constantini and Demerit up ahead, who both stayed with each other and should be inheriting the lead once it's all over.
So How much of a difference will those couple laps in tires make at the end of the race here, Finney? We're seeing drop-offs a couple seconds.
Yeah, I think it's going to make a pretty significant difference just as far as drivability, too. You're going to be able to be a lot more maneuverable and have a lot more speed carrying through the corners. So once he catches this guy, that's going to be a big factor. But again, it's more of a question of once he catches these guys, although he should be able to.
Chad Simpson hits pit lane in his number 42, as does Dan Ench in the 52 car.
And just coming down in his Spark VR car, so was a little bit short of the pit box, but we'll get it just enough to get some service. But as we look at Andrew Kinsella, who's back in 13th.
Yeah, Kinsella's night, I thought it would have gone a little bit better. He's been up very competitive at certain points in the race, but lately dropped kind of down the grid a little bit. So not really sure what's going on with that 14, but the handling isn't where he wants it. But one guy that does have the handling where he wants it is Ray Kingsbury. He is flying through the field right now. Last time by was a couple tenths quicker than even our leaders, Demerit and Costantini. So this 25 car is making up some ground.
And actually, Jonathan Goka ended up kind of in between both these guys, and Kingsbury's actually closing up in on the 08. So teammates, I imagine they probably played this easy on each other.
And see a SimTV logo there in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen.
Hey, nice.
Peeking out there. Lap 85 of a 150 here at Texas Motor Speedway for the Triptacular Memories 225 for the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series, round number 3.
Nice green play run going after a few cautions at the start of this just due to the treacherous conditions, but it looks like a lot of these guys got their stuff sorted out and these cars dialed in.
Lichtenberg and David Adams fighting for 6th place. Blocker a couple seconds up the road. There is the 13 of Chris Stouffer. I thought this car would have been destroyed after that wreck with he and I believe it was Tony Schowen in the 31. So that 13 car repaired and running okay, actually.
Yeah, I was actually lucky. I think he neck-coated through it. I don't think he even got any damage. Otherwise, I think he probably would have been out of the race if he did get at least a little bit of damage from that. But yeah, unfortunately, not the best day for Stouffer as he's 2 laps down and stuck in 20th.
Lichtenberg and David Adams, this fight continues for 6th place. And Lichtenberg trying to cross over Adams. And you see him have to lift out of the throttle, though, this inside lane. Down to 4th gear, Finney. So gearboxes, IndyCar, different from stock cars. Stock car, you don't shift that noble.
Yeah.
Why do you shift at a place like Texas, and why are they down to even 4th gear?
Yeah, I think fourth I find quite low. As you can see, that it's flashing blue just because he's at the top of the rev limit. I'm actually kind of surprised that he's running it down below. I think, you want to go into 5th in the corners and run 6th on the straightaways. Yeah, you can see him stay there, but you want it for just the torque from the engine. It really does help, surprisingly so. It gives you a lot more speed and a lot more room to play with.
Battle for the top spot. Demerit leads the way. Gok has chased him down, and Kingsbury sits waiting in the wings for something to get spicy up here. Closing in on 60 laps to go. Running out of time for these guys up front to make a move. And Gok goes way up the racetrack trying to track down that 144.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Costantini. He dropped to 4th place. Didn't quite see what happened to him, but here comes Gok now for the leading spot. And easily going to take by, and this is your answer to do the tires matter. You can see Gok just blow by the 144, and I think Kingsbury is going to do much of the same.
The difference is 8 laps for Gok and 7 laps for Kingsbury, and for Demerit, he's at a disadvantage now on the tires. He's been perhaps one of the best cars out of the racetrack, but the strategy might hurt the 144 tonight.
And not even the strategy. I think he would have been fine on the strategy, but that spin really cost him a lot of time. If you even make that strategy sort of work, he did a full loop around that cost him valuable seconds.
Adam Blocker in the 74, he was a lot stronger at the beginning of the race. Whatever has happened to the racetrack conditions has not helped the 74. There is Simon Bryant in the 22 going up the racetrack and trying to take a look at the 74. Track temp is as high as it's been all night, 112 degrees Fahrenheit. And Bryant goes for a look to Blocker on the inside.
We saw Blocker dropping quite a bit in the earlier run, but it's kind of settled out to around in the middle of the top 10, running in 6th, trying to defend 7th off from Bryant.
2nd place beginning to be contested here. Ray Kingsbury reeling in the 144.
I'm curious how this pass is going to go by, if he's going to hold up Kingsbury, who's trying to chase down his teammate.
Look at Kingsbury crossover, a huge run on the back straightaway.
And you can see also Demerit to the back end kind of sliding out just a little bit, and that's where he loses a lot of speed in comparison to Kingsbury.
Through turns 3 and 4, using that outside lane to try to defend, as you always ridicule me for saying being defensive from an offensive position, or vice versa. On off into turn 1, Demerit holds the spot for now, but they are losing ground to Gok. Gok is running really quick, lap times quicker than anybody else on the racetrack right now, and pulling away a 1-second lead for that 0-8. Lichtenberg and Blocker, they're fighting for a spot into turn 3. That got a little dicey. Yeah. Lichtenberg maybe throwing a block or a defensive move on the 74. And how about the 007 and Henry Bennett? This is really, it's still a fine run, top 10, but he was in the top 5, top 4 for most of the first part of the race and just has fallen back and doesn't have the pace to stay up front.
Yeah, both him and Blocker does not have the speed that they probably would have thought that they would have had earlier in the run. And it's been slowly trickling on back. In fact, Blocker went immediately back into 8th after we saw him a few laps ago in 6th.
Looks like the 007 is fighting a little bit of understeer through the center of the corner, and caution out Riley Thompson again in the 58. Crashed big time this time.
That car is done.
And at a very interesting time with 55 laps to go here. So let's take a look at what happened to the 58 car of Riley Thompson.
Oh, just got loose again.
Whatever setup he is running.
Yeah, it is. Ooh.
That was a dead stop down there.
He's really lacking grip in the rear end for his setup.
Yeah, he's just crashing on the straightaway. So there's something really not working for that number 58, and just lost it. And this is a hard impact into the fence, just right into the safer barrier, and almost an instant stop here.
Let's go get a ride on board with him.
This is gonna hurt.
Yeah, see him just twitch the wheel a little bit to the left to corner on through, but it was enough. Oh. His car is really on a knife's edge, and unfortunately he's going to end it in the wall.
Oh, man, just a dead stop. So for Riley Thompson, a couple of incidents tonight is going to take him out. What are the leaders going to do on the pit lane here, Finney? What's your call?
I definitely want to come on down a pit road, although I feel like quite a few of these guys are going to be running it close to the end from here on out if we do go green. I don't know. I think, how long did we go on that last one? About
not 55 laps, I can tell you that much. Yeah, so it's going to be pretty tight to make it to the end. So I think we're all going to see everyone pit here. Get everyone back on the same strategy. You know who this really helps is Demerit in the 144. He was at a huge disadvantage on strategy. Gets himself back in the game now.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of the other guys, including Kingsbury and Constantini and even Gok too, I don't think they wanted to see that. Because that puts that 144. He's definitely got one of the fastest cars out here, just purely based on speed. Was slow just due to the being caught on tire strategy, but now being on equal footing with everyone else, should be able to run away with this.
So Demerit pulls out of his box, but Gok's gonna beat him off the pit lane. So they're gonna come out 1, 2, 3, 4, pretty much how they did, with the exception of Costantini, who I think was able to get around Ray Kingsbury. That looks to be the case. So Costantini up 1 spot. Simon Bryant sitting 5th place. And David Adams, a couple of these Sadie Simsport cars looking really, really good up here inside the top 10. Adam Plunkett as well. So, it'll be about a 50-lap run to the end here, Finney, and you got to pick one car. Which one do you think's going to win this race?
Car I think that's going to win this race. I'm honestly going to put my money on Kingsbury. I would pick Demerit, but I think Kingsbury has been a lot more consistent and quicker in some cases compared to Demerit. So I'm going to say that 25's got what it takes.
So your pick is Ray Kingsbury. I think I'm liking how this 144 was on fresh tires, on equalized tires. He was driving away from everybody earlier in the night. So I think this is what the 144 is going to do, is he's going to get around Gok. I think he's going to drive away. I know Gok was better last run, but Gok also had a huge tire advantage. I think this 144 is the one to win this race. We'll see how it goes here. About track conditions, 112. They've kind of stagnated here for a little while, so track becoming kind of predictable. But I wanted to take a look at turns 1 and 2. How much rubber there is, almost all the way up to that 4th lane up there. So there is certainly room to race now, and I think I'd be a little bit more inclined to see some drivers on the outside making ground up early in the run.
Yeah, that lane's definitely become a lot more viable as this race has progressed here, as we're just about to come through 2/3 of being done with about 50 laps to go.
Hi, above Texas Motor Speedway. We want to thank our race sponsor again, Triptacular Memories, for coming on board and sponsoring the Triptacular Memories 225, as well as the Coca-Cola bottling plant of Kokomo, sponsoring the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series, along with MYLAPS. Of course, we were just talking earlier about DJ Alessandrini, running into him at Grid Life with his MYLAPS sticker on the front bumper of his race car. So cool to see that out in the wild, as MYLAPS, their timing and scoring systems, pretty much used in everything from cross-country to motorsport. So it's really cool to see. And down below us, the Texas Motor Speedway. It's been kind of a wild night here and there. Taking a look at our race information so far, 5 cautions, 18 lead changes though in 100 laps. That's almost a lead change every 5 or 6 laps. Pretty crazy stuff. So it will be 50 laps to the end of the race here on this restart.
Yeah, and also quite a few guys electing to take the wave around of those drivers. Chad Simpson, Frank Levitt, 4th, Dan Inch, Michael Peters, Christopher, Flynn Lazier, and yeah, that's about it. Actually, no, I don't think Flynn Lazier has taken it.
Nope.
So just Simpson, Levick, Inch, Peters, and Stouffer.
50 laps around Texas Motor Speedway, and Jonathan Goke is your leader. How much does Demerit put on the line here? Is it too risky right now? I mean, is this our last restart? Do you think the 144 should push harder here? Or do you think you should lay back and maybe let the 08 wear out his stuff?
I think let the 08 wear out his stuff. I think the 144 has got a faster car. So I think you should just kind of wait this out and see where he can try to get around the 08. If not, if he can get it on the start and try to blow away, I think he should try to do that. But definitely shouldn't try to force the issue.
Rolling through turns 3 and 4, Goke is your leader. Demerit, Costantini, Kingsbury, Bryant, Adams, Lichtenberg, Blocker, Bennett, Plunkett, your top 10. 50 laps to go in the Triptacular Memories 225. Goke is your leader. Waiting for the green flag to drop. There it is. Green flag flies, racing again at Texas.
And a great start for the 08, trying to pull ahead of everyone else.
That's Joshua Chin in the background, being aggressive on the outside lane all the way back in 11th place. It has not really been a great latter half of the race for the 93, trying to climb up the order again. But it's all Goke out front. Demerit trying to close the gap. Costantini 3rd. And behind them, there's all sorts of action off into turn 3. Jeff Drake could have been a winner last week. Probably should have been a winner tonight. But really hasn't had the speed the last 50 or 60 laps.
Yeah, I was up there earlier on due to some strategy, but has really dropped back and hasn't been really able to recover. You see him go to the inside of Chin and behind Andrew Kinsella up in front.
Really tight, even on fresh tires for the 92, so that car not handling exactly how he wants it. Up towards the front, though. Demerit closing in. Takes a look to the outside. He's dragged a couple more people with us. Costantini, Kingsbury. Any one of this top 5 could win the race. Even Brian, he's creeped into the picture and watching from behind in his Sadie machine.
Yeah, he's just kind of sitting, and I think he's curious on what these guys are going to do. You see everyone else pull to the outside, trying to get clean air to their nose. You see Demerit almost get into Goke, has to back out. Let's open the door for Costantini to the inside.
Yeah, big slip up through 1 and 2 for Goke. That gave Demerit the opportunity, but Costantini down to the inside lane is going to shoot the gap and drive to second. Costantini to P2.
Yeah, great pass for Costantini to get ahead of Demerit, and that's going to put Demerit in danger of getting passed from Kingsbury in behind.
Oh, it's just everyone trying to pick a line to find some clean air to work with. Demerit goes up the racetrack. Costantini to the middle. Kingsbury trying to follow in the tracks of Goke. Goke snaking down the back straightaway. 45 laps to go. When we get back around, it's getting tight up towards the front. And here comes Lichtenberg, the Gateway winner, creeping into the picture towards the end of the race.
Yeah, really starting to creep into the picture now that he's kind of got bunched up with everyone else, although he's struggling to get past Bryant at the moment, stuck back in 6th.
Layered out, they look like they look like geese in formation in the autumn night. Look at them stepped out side by side through 1, 2, and now 3 and 4, trying to offset themselves to find clean air to work with. Blocker trying to get back in the picture in 7th place in that bright blue 74.
Blocker going to show that he's back in this fight as he works for position. Speaking of which, here comes Costantini to the outside.
Demerit fading a little bit. Here comes Kingsbury up to P3, but Costantini putting the pressure on Jonathan Goke for the top spot.
I think the outside lane starting to come into his own here, though. Costantini struggling to make the move on that outside lane. Just can't really get much of a run off of just Goke.
Ooh, look at Demerit, a big run out of 4. He's going to carry a lot of speed. Look at Blocker. He's up to 6th place following all this mess for the top spot, though. Costantini looks to the outside down in turn 1, and Demerit goes even higher up the racetrack, trying to find grip to race.
And Costantini, really what he needs to do is just get a wing to the outside of Goke, but can't get it done. You see him now work to the inside, and Demerit's going to have to back out.
Yeah, Demerit being really patient right now, trying to wait and see what these leaders are going to do. Will they touch and rub? Maybe in the NASCAR race that would be acceptable, but in an Indy car, you're going to go for a ride if you make any contact. On the front straight, Goke is going to leave the inside lane open for Costantini. Now tries to defend, but the gap is already closed.
Demerit working that outside lane, using the clean air to his advantage. He's going to have a nice run on the back straightaway, but nowhere to go as he gets boxed in.
And Demerit no place for him to go. Waiting maybe for the outside lane to open up, and it does. But Costantini down to the inside lane now, trying to get the lead away. Has he led any laps yet tonight? We got to double check this because I don't think he has. He has not. So Costantini trying to steal the lead away and lead a lap here at Texas.
So close to doing so, gets right up to go, has to back out just due to the arrow wash, and that's going to allow Demerit easily to get around the outside. You see Costantini pulling in line. Here comes Bryant for the first time inside the top 5.
He's got a teammate with him, David Adams, and Kingsbury goes to the inside to try to take all of them. But a slip up for the 60-066 and into the fence. Barrel rolling on the front straight. Costantini's out of it. A violent, vicious impact on the front straightaway. Tumbling end over end. And the night is over for one of the quickest cars in the race.
Oh, yeah, what a violent wreck there.
And for Simon Bryant as well. He's out. With 40 laps to go, the night ends for 2 of the best. What happened here? I think the Costantini slipped. I think this is where this starts, but was there contact potentially
I think it might have been
Ray
contact.
Kingsbury?
Ooh.
And let's go back and take a look from high above. What do you see?
Yeah, so you see Bryant in behind, and you see Kingsbury to the bottom, to the inside of Bryant's going to chuck it up through the corner.
So Kingsbury's going to lunge down here into turn 3. Does Costantini just keep coming down the racetrack? Or is this... some net code there. A lot of net code.
Jesus.
So somebody's connection was not great there. So unfortunately, with the world of sim racing, you don't always make entire contact with the drivers you're fighting with. And unfortunately for Costantini and for Bryant and for Ray Kingsbury, that impact definitely happened. That one I don't think did.
Yeah, that one, that's really unfortunate for Bryant. He had entire cars with and more between him and Costantini, but that netcode was really, really bad.
And look at this. Tumbling end over end. It looks like we only really had 2 cars involved. A couple drivers took some evasive action, but that's going to do it for those 2 cars. We're going to head back live here and pick up your leader, Jonathan Goke. Did they all come to pit lane? They did, Finian. So everyone going to take 4 fresh Firestones and get themselves back in position with less than 40 laps to go. Does this change your picks here? I think Costantini was your pick, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, it was Kingsbury.
Oh, Kingsbury, that's right.
Yeah, how did he end up in 6th?
He slipped back a little bit with all that chaos and was actually about to climb on through that when that accident happened. Oh, no damage on that car.
On the bottom. I'm not sure if he's got a problem or something, or if he's just... Okay, looks like he's back underway.
Well, it's been kind of a wild race for Ray Kingsbury from Pocono, where he won the race, to not having a spectacular run at Gateway. Was able to recover, I believe, get himself back on the lead lap towards the end of the race and have a decent result there. Fast enough to win the race, just needs the track position here, and we're not going to have a whole lot of time left, maybe 15 minutes worth of racing, so Kingsbury's have to get up on that wheel and go drive this car. Race recap here. 6 cautions for 19 laps of our 112 that we've completed. 20 lead changes up at the front of the field. And Demerit in the 144 has led a pretty large majority of those. 49 laps led for him. Goke has led 23. Adam Blocker has led 10. Henry Bennett's led none, but Kingsbury has led 7 laps. So I think the dominant car of the night has to go to Christopher Demerit, but he didn't really do that spectacular on the restart, so maybe he doesn't have the speed to beat the 08.
Well, let's see. Did he restart in 3rd last time?
I think he was 2nd.
Oh, he was 2nd? Yeah. So, I don't know. I think if he can get clear of Goke, I think he might be able to do something, but unless he's in the lead, I don't think that 144 is as good as he is in clean air. I think that's really just the way he has his car set up, so I'll have to see on this restart if he can try to get out ahead. I think really now he needs to get ahead of the 08 to really dominate. Otherwise, he's going to be kind of stuck back in behind and not really able to do or make much of a move.
Waiting for the lights to shut off on the pace car. And we'll have just over, we got 36 laps to go. 37 at the green flag here. Goke, your leader. Demerit, Adams, Blocker, Bennett, Kingsbury, Lichtenberg, Kinsella, Chin, Plunkett, your top 10. And I see another car creeping towards it. Joe Branch. And how about Michael Peters? These 2 drivers line astern right now, 12th and 13th.
Yeah, and remember, Michael Peters had that horrible mistake on the green flag pit stops, went through his pit box and really struggled to get back into it, but is back on the lead lap and running in 13th. So a pretty solid day considering what it could have been had that caution not come out.
We talked earlier tonight, Finian, survival at Texas is so important. This is a challenging racetrack, but it hasn't been turn 2 that's been the trouble spot. It's been all on the front straightaway. Calamity Corner in turn 4 and the quad oval. But we're not done yet. 37 laps to go at the restart. Gok, Demerit, Adams, Blocker, Bennett, your top 5. Can Ray Kingsbury or Brennan Lichtenberg, they're 6th and 7th, can either of them go 2 for 3 at the beginning of the 2019 season out of turn number 4? 37 to go. Gok leads the way down. Pace car's off. And we're going green. Green flag back in the air here at Texas, and Gok fires off.
Fantastic restart for Gok over Demerit. I'm gonna build a very small lead, but in behind them, they're already getting side by side. You see Bennett making a move to the outside of Kingsbury. Can't get it done. Here comes Lichtenberg on through.
Yeah, Lichtenberg again working his way into the top 10. He's going to be a dangerous driver if he gets toward the front. Some Dyson and weaving up towards the front. Gok leads the way. Demerit follows Adams in 3rd in that 88. How about that? Haven't really talked a whole lot about him tonight, but started 16th, has slowly and silently climbed his way inside the top 5.
Yeah, High C's been all night in 3rd place. Let's see if he can try to get a few more. You see Demerit make a move to the outside of Gok. Can't get it done. Going to stay right in behind the 08. Here comes David Adams, though.
Yeah, Adams had a big run as these two fight. Going to bring the 88 into it, into turn 3. Demerit on the outside lane, a position of strength in turn 3. But look at Adams trying to cross them over and get a draft on the front straight. Maybe go for 2nd out of turn 4.
Yeah, getting an excellent run, too. But where is he going to go with this, or will he stay right in behind Demerit? We'll see as he goes into turn 1.
Side by side for a moment. Gok still holds the lead. He's going to be right down in that white line. Demerit's going to try to follow him through. On the outside, I would think the outside's the place to be, but Gok's car just working so well, like just lined right up against that inside lane.
And here comes also Adam Blocker back in the picture.
Yeah,
Drifted out for quite a while. He's back and better than ever in 4th.
Definitely recovered, has that 74. Brennan Lichtenberg is, he's in the grass, crashed on the front straightaway. And going to keep rolling. We're going to not cut away from that because we want to just jump back up here to Jonathan Gok and Demerit still fighting for the top spot. Demerit gets crossed over. And here comes Adams to the outside. Stepped up to the middle and outside lane.
Going to have a nice run on Demerit on the front straightaway. So he's been building up some nice runs on the outside, but has not been able to make the pass. See him stuck back in behind the 144.
Onto the back straightaway again. Gok, Demerit, Adams, Blocker, Kingsbury, your top 5. Look at this battle for the lead. It's a dogfight towards the front of the field. Demerit tries to go up the middle. He's not quite there, though, Finian. He needs a bit more of a run.
Yeah, and that's really the struggle that he's been dealing with. Just hasn't been able to get those runs to the outside there. You see him look on Gok again.
Inches between them as they work their way through 1 and 2. Look at Adams following Demerit. We're right on board.
You see Adams is running a lane up behind Demerit in the corners. You see Demerit look once again to the outside in turn 3. But I've been liking what Adams has been doing in turns 3 and 4. I've been arcing the corner, been building up a nice run on the straightaway.
Well, this run from the 144 to the outside lane, but as soon as he goes to 6th gear, the car just runs out of steam, and Gok is able to just hold that inside lane so well. My fear for the 08 is, can he hold that lane for too much longer? The tires are going to wear out. We still have 30 laps to go at the line. Demerit to the inside, a great move down into turn 3.
Oh, and caught Gok sleeping there. Boy, they're going to be both side by side, barely able to make the move.
Wheel to wheel at the front of the field. Demerit was able to slip on through to the inside, but Gok defending on the outside lane.
You see him pinching Demerit to the inside. He's got to be careful. These guys could easily make wheel-to-wheel contact and end both their days. But Gok doing a fantastic job defending and keeping Demerit in behind.
I think Gok's a little better right now. Demerit, big push into turn 3. Up the racetrack he goes. Going to leave that door open for David Adams. I hear some spinning behind. Kingsbury's around in the fence.
The points leader in the wall.
Caution out with 28 laps to go. And Ray Kingsbury, one of the drivers inside the top 5, the points leader walking into tonight, is pretty much done. Hate to see that. I'm going to go back and find out. We heard him spinning out of turn 4. What caused this? Joshua Chin. They get together, and that one will have to probably get looked at, I would imagine. I don't think Kingsbury really did anything wrong here. And Chin kind of chased him up the racetrack.
Yeah,
that's on Chin for me, Finian. I mean, not a whole lot to defend there.
He could have given him a lot more, just backed out entirely. I mean, Kingsbury was pretty much as up as one could really go in that corner.
All right, on board. Maybe the 93's on board shows a different story. You see, he was understeering there. Let's go back and watch this again in slow motion. Definitely didn't mean to do it, but it's his responsibility underneath the car who was outside to not get into this situation. But
yeah.
He drove in really deep to try to get by this car, and everyone's trying to get everything they can. You're going to see him try to turn this wheel a little bit more right here. And as the car does not respond, he clips the 25 and sends him around and actually gets some pretty significant front wing damage as well. So Chin going to have to come in and replace that wing. It's going to hurt him as, quite a bit. Not as much as it hurt the 25, but on and off pit lane, going to lose some spots in the process. And big story off of pit road, Finian. Jonathan Gok.
Oh.
Problems. Is he broken?
No, he just got a speeding penalty.
Oh, no.
Which is, really unfortunate considering, we have these guys have pit limiters. Unfortunately, I think what he might have tried to do, he might have tried to disengage his early to get ahead on pit exit. I can't imagine him getting on a pit entry.
Yeah, here's a look, and Christopher Demerit stayed out?
Yeah, Demerit did stay out.
Hold on, we gotta go back and look at this one more time here. With the, thank you, trying to find, what am I looking for? Go. So, out of pit lane, did he disengage early? No, maybe it was earlier.
Let's right on. I'm kind of curious now. I think it might have been on entry.
Yeah, it's tricky to tell, but a penalty for the 0-8 regardless, and that's going to take him out of contention to win this race. He's got a lot of work to do if he wants to win it. 16 cars to pass, in fact, so that's a pretty tall hill to climb. Ray Kingsbury, still out of the racetrack. He got that car repaired, Finian, so he's good to go.
Really?
Yeah. Got the front wing and nose put back on it, and I don't know if it'll be competitive, but it certainly looks the part.
Oh. I'm wondering if it wasn't as bad as we thought.
It looked pretty bad. Hit the wall pretty hard.
Well,
I don't know.
He shouldn't have been able to fix it that fast unless these guys have fast repairs, which I don't think they do.
They shouldn't. So, Kingsbury...
I'm kind of amazed by that, because you can replace the front and rear wings. Anything else you can't. You can really much hit it into place.
Don't know what's going on. Well, it could be a 25-lap shootout to the end, and the driver that's led the most laps is going to lead us back to the green here momentarily. But David Adams has been sitting here waiting in the wings for a while in the Sadie Sim Autosport car, and Adam Blocker was really competitive early, good enough to win this race. Henry Bennett, I just don't think he's got good enough restarts to be competitive at the end here, but Kinsella, how about this car? Maybe sneak his way inside the top 3 towards the end here. He'll restart in 5th place in this number 14. Been kind of a wild night for him. Started in 14th. Been up and down all over the order, but 25 to go for the restart here. New pick, Finian. Who's you got?
I mean, it's pretty hard not to pick Demerit. Obviously, you picked him, but I think Adams in the 88. He's been making some really good moves in behind a lot of these other guys, and was really racing behind Go. Obviously, I probably honestly would have picked Go because he was doing fantastic moves, but that speeding penalty easily took him out of this fight, at least for now. I would say David Adams has got what it takes. He's probably one of the only other guys I could really see being able to get past the mirror. I don't think Blocker or Bennett can do it. They've been a little bit too conservative and just not as good on the longer run. My pick's the 88.
25 laps, no more concerns about fuel, not even really a whole lot of concerns about tire. Maybe towards the end of the run there might be a little bit more degradation, but I think this is pretty much just an all-out sprint to the end. I don't think we're done seeing accidents yet. I think we'll probably see maybe 1 or 2 more as these guys get really racy towards the end of the night. 25 laps to go. It's only about 10 minutes worth of racing, so it's almost over here. Demerit leads the way, leaves the lane open, but fires off for the restart. Demerit takes us back green. And fired out of a cannon did that 144.
Yeah, got a fantastic start, and here comes Kinsella now trying to get past Bennett in this battle for 4th place. You see already huge separation between the leaders.
Well, we see it close up pretty quick. How about Joe Branch in the 28 to the inside of the 14 of Kinsella off into turn 3?
And Branch has been pretty quiet for most of this race so far, but here he is knocking in the inside of the top 5 he goes.
So Branch inside the top 5. How about up for the front though? David Adams to the outside lane, trying to get around Christopher Demerit. Adams was quicker on the last run, but it's going to be a drag race down the back straight. Look at Blocker with a huge run to the inside in turn 3.
Blocker with a fantastic run, timed that perfectly, going to get to the inside of Demerit.
And he clears
easily blow by him. You see, whoa, Adams with a big crossover on Demerit, trying to get to the inside, can't get it done.
We didn't think Blocker would have the ability to make a run like that, but he did, and just blitzed everybody. Chris Stouffer, trouble in the background. They're slow. on the down in turn number 1 and 2 here. There's a crash down here.
Oh,
Frank Levick, the 4th, and the field's going to be coming on through 3 and 4. We stay green. Stouffer leads the way, or excuse me, Blocker leads the way, and Adams and Demerit still fighting for second.
David Adams is going to get by Demerit, so now it's a battle for first between him and Blocker. Blocker going to panic as Adams throws it to the inside. He backs out of it. That's opened the door for the 88.
That's all the 88 needed. David Adams is going to be so hard to pass. He's got the inside lane. Yet. Here comes Demerit to the outside.
He's not entirely clear yet. He's now finally clear of Blocker and Demerit, so Adams now up in the front for what I believe is the first time today. And we'll see, can he stay there with us as they come to 21 laps to go?
And Christopher Demerit is in this fight. How about Henry Bennett into the mix as well from 4th place? Joe Branch is even in this fight now. It's a 6-car fight at the front of the field. Kinsella rounding it out. Some duking and diving at the front of the field. Adams goes defensive. Blocker to the outside into turn 3.
Yeah, it looks like Demerit's just getting swallowed up by a lot of other cars. I think his car is just struggling in behind this dirty air and it can't really make any runs.
Yeah, needs some clean air on that 144. He was so quick out front but struggles in behind. For the lead, Adams and Blocker side by side. 20 laps to go at Texas.
Yeah, and Adams making Blocker go the long way around. Meanwhile, Kinsella to the outside of Joe Branch as he's trying to defend for 5th place. And Bennett goes to the inside of Demerit.
Off into turn 3. Bennett trying to get 3rd place away. Could he get a podium after the restarts tonight have been so poor for that 007? Working over the driver that has led the most laps tonight. 19 to go. The front of the field. Adams and Blocker still locked in a battle. Nose to nose, wheel to wheel in 1 and 2.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Blocker's winning this fight anytime soon. He's been trying to go to the outside, but again, has been struggling to make some runs happen. He goes to the outside here, but you see him, he's just not going to be enough for the corner.
He gets a spectacular run out of turns 1 and 2. I don't know what he's doing. Look at a ride on board, see what he's doing with the gearbox here. Behind, it's getting dicey, but I want to roll on board here.
I think what he should do is honestly just kind of build a gap, as he's got a little bit of room to work with here. Build a gap to Adams. And then just use the slipstream to his advantage.
He just gets a huge little burst of speed, but he just can't do anything with it. And meanwhile, behind them, it's a hornet's nest. Demerit, Joe Branch, Kinsella all locked in a fight for 4th. And how about Adam Plunkett? Joshua Chin slipping and sliding on the front straightaway. Saves it, but will lose a spot to Michael Peters.
Yeah, that could have been ugly there. One of the first guys we've seen been able to save it through the quad oval. Did a great job doing so.
Blocker is just working over David Adams. Maybe saving towards the end of the race, he could dive underneath. Adams is leaving some room there on the inside, so maybe one lap, Blocker could just turn hard left out of turn 2, get down underneath him before he gets down to the white line.
Yeah, I think that's what he's kind of hoping for at this point. His outside lane has just not been working for him so far.
Through 1 and 2, David Adams leads the way. It's less than 1/10 of a second with about 15 laps to go. Down the back straightaway, Blocker tries to get the advantage into 3, but he's just waiting here. I think he's just saving his time. He's not trying to get this lead away yet. I think you're going to see that with less than 5 to go.
And has been maintaining the gap between
he clears him.
Bennett. Whoa, yeah.
Adams pulls into line behind him, so maybe Adams let off the gas here to try to... I mean, this is going to turn into a draft race here, Finian. You want to be second on the last lap, I would think, right?
Yeah, that's what I would think. So, no, it's going to be... Oh.
Wow, big. Ooh, Blocker slow on the back straight. So these guys beginning to trade spots back and forth. 15 to go, make it 14 as they come around. And Henry Bennett closing the gap on both of them.
Yeah, not sure what that was. It looks like Blocker intentionally let Adams on by.
Well, because Blocker has a plan, and he didn't want Adams to foil that plan.
Well, whatever plan they had, it's kind of been foiled as Bennett's been, after that little shenanigan they had, has allowed the rest of the pack to catch back up to them.
Off into turn 3. The gap now 0.3 of a second. Blocker beginning to lose some ground here. That was a dangerous move, giving the 88 the lead back. Did that hurt him? Did he shoot himself in the foot here?
It kind of depends on how his car is in the next 13 laps. If it starts to fall off, as we've seen earlier on, he easily would have just handed the 88 the race.
Kinsella way up the racetrack in turns 1 and 2, fighting Joe Branch for 5th place. Coming back to 12 laps to go, running out of laps. Does anything have anything for David Adams, who is not up towards the front until about 20 to go? Does he have enough to win the race here in Triptacular Memories 225 for the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series, round number 3 from Texas? Henry Bennett now looking for second.
Yeah, it looks like Blocker's starting to fall off, and this is what I was afraid of earlier, that I think would happen to Blocker. Blocker's got a really good short-run car, but on the long run starts to really fall off. Now we're seeing him fall into the clutches of Bennett and Demerit.
Through 3 and 4, 11 to go, side by side for second. Christopher Demerit getting back into the fight. Last time by Finian, Demerit was almost as quick as your leader, David Adams. Bennett was as quick as your leader, David Adams. So maybe this isn't over yet. But Adam Blocker, I don't think, is part of the winning picture.
Yeah, I don't think so. He's been holding up Bennett quite a bit. And here comes Demerit now taking a run on Blocker as he actually flashes out for a second.
That's a big distraction for the drivers behind. They're going to have 10 laps to make up 0.8 of a second. That's a tall task, especially when it's David Adams.
And Demerit's able to use the draft to his advantage to get ahead of Bennett. Now he goes to the inside of Blocker.
Wow. This is really dangerous for David Adams if that 144 is able to clear the 74.
Oh, someone in the back just hit the wall really hard.
I didn't see who it was. Was it Ray Kingsbury?
I think so, yeah.
Slow through 3 and 4.
He slammed the wall out of turn 2. You can see him slowing off the pace here, I think, struggling to get a handle on the car.
Here's a look. Oh yeah, slipped up the racetrack. Ooh, that was a big impact there. Heading back up to second place. Oh, look at this. This is Ray Kingsbury. This is back here for 8th, 9th, 10th place. Fighting for that spot, but up towards the front. Battle for the lead. Here comes Adam Blocker. Actually, this is for second, rather. Adams is about a second up the road. Blocker, Bennett to Merritt, all fighting for the position to try to run down that leader.
Yeah,
Does anybody have anything for him?
Yeah, I don't know. Blocker's been doing a fantastic job keeping Bennett and Demerit in behind, and that's doing Adams a huge favor because neither of these guys can catch him.
7 laps to go this time by. Wow, look at Demerit drives in deep on the bottom of turns 3 and 4. He needs to clear the 74. Slide up the racetrack. He does. Demerit to second. He has got 7 laps to make up 9/10 of a second.
Here comes Blocker with the run, though. You see Demerit doing the best he can to keep Blocker in behind. It looks like he's able to do so, but I don't think it's enough time.
Now it's a lap time game. David Adams is 9/10 of a second up the road. Can Demerit close this gap? It's a tall order, and it's not easy to pass once they get there.
Yeah, I was going to say it's one thing to get there and one thing to pass, and you see he's actually getting passed by Adam Blocker on the inside.
Yeah, if they keep fighting, they're not going to be able to catch that leader, so they got to tuck in line. They did gain 3/10 that time. Actually, no, that was 1/10 that time. 9/10 of a second still, the lower side of 9/10 of a second. 6 to go. Kinsella Branch continuing their fight for 5th, but it's all Adams out front, Finian. He's led 15 laps. If he leads 21, it'll be a victory for the 88.
Yeah, I'm sure he's just praying that a caution doesn't come out at this point. It's a little in the air if we go back for a restart. I think he wants to go a few more laps.
Yeah, that time through, Adams was just a touch quicker than Demerit. And Demerit's got to be taking a couple tenths out of him every single lap. He has not been able to do that. 5 laps to go. It's going to be 4 when Adams comes back around. He's been flawless in the latter half of this race. And remember when Blocker gave that spot back up? Ooh, was there a little bit of wall contact there?
Yeah, he did hit the wall a little bit.
Doesn't matter. We're still a tenth quicker than the guys behind. All smooth sailing out front. Nobody in touch with David Adams. 1.1 seconds back to Demerit, then 2/10 back to Blocker, another half second back to Bennett.
They ran a lot faster than the guys behind him last time through for David Adams, and he's continuing to build that gap here as he comes across the line 3 laps ago.
He has not been the dominant car tonight. That would go to the 144 of Demerit, but you only need to dominate 1 lap, and that is the last one. It's an 150-lap race, and they only give you points for that 150th lap. Demerit might be a touch quicker. Last time he was a tenth faster than the leader, but it's going to need to be a lot more than that to have a chance at the win.
He's just kind of hoping that Adams makes a mistake.
Kinsella and Joe Branch continue their fight for 5th place.
Oh, Adams really slow on the last lap through. 24.8 for Adams and a 24.5 for Demerit.
Closes up the gap to 0.6 of a second. Demerit's going to have a little bit of a toe on the back straight here, but I don't think it's going to be enough unless the 88 makes a big mistake. Coming back to the white flag. He's slow, Finian. Slow for the 88. 1 lap to go here at Texas.
Oh, he might have enough here. It's going to be very close. What the gap stands as they went last time through. He will be side by side with him at the line. 1 more lap to go.
3/10 between them. Adams is struggling right now. Final lap at Texas. Demerit closes the gap. 2/10 of a second on the back straightaway. Demerit closing. Does he have one more opportunity? Down into turn 3. Take a look.
Adams goes to block on the inside. He's going to take the air off the nose of Demerit. That might have been enough.
Out of turn 4, David Adams holds on to win the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series round number 3, the Triptacular Memories 225 at Texas. Whew,
wow,
boy.
That was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be at the line. So Adams in first, Demerit second, Blocker third, Bennett fourth, Joe Branch will round out your top 5.
Joe Branch over Kinsella for 5th place by 54 thousandths of a second. But how about that? That got a little more exciting than I think David Adams wanted.
Yeah, and I think that had to do with that contact we saw earlier. Something was definitely slow with Adams as he was running the high side that allowed Demerit to catch up to him, get that draft. And I'm sure he's happy that it wasn't 151 laps because that might have gone the other way.
It certainly could have. It almost did. And Demerit just understeered in the final corner, wasn't able to get underneath, but for David Adams, a successful campaign for victory early in the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series season, and celebrating on the front straightaway here at Texas. I don't think that was supposed to be as exciting as it was, but I'm glad it was, Finian. How about that? Take a look at your race results. And Adam Blocker, third place, a podium for the 74. That's a pretty decent result. How about Henry Bennett rebounding for a top 5? Joe Branch in 5th place by 54 thousandths of a second. That is pretty impressive. We'll take a look at that a little bit later, so don't worry. We'll show you a replay of that. Flynn Lazier comes home with a top 15. Jonathan Goke, after leading some laps late in the going, he finishes 17th, 14 laps down. A real shame there. Tony Schowen again had winning speed, torn up in another accident. The MYLAPS Indy Elite Series has been wild so far this year. We're going to talk to your winner and several other drivers here in just a couple minutes, so hang on tight. We'll show you the replay for the battle for 5th when we come back.
To get the best result, it's all about ambition, hard work, and doing the right things right. In 1982, two Dutch brothers invented an automatic way to time RC races. The system of the company, called AMB-IT, was quickly adopted by pro racing series like NASCAR and IndyCar. Automated timing for mass participation sport events was also invented in the Netherlands by Champion Chip in the early 90s, giving athletes a personal chip time of their performance. In 2008, the two companies joined forces, and MYLAPS Sports Timing was born. We never stop innovating, with state-of-the-art timing systems and digital services to enhance the event experience. With our X2 platform, we bring motorsports timing to a whole new level with two-way communication. Our event app and photo video create the ultimate event experience for athletes and fans with live data and personal content like photos and videos. SpeedHive provides a pro-level racing experience for amateur and club events by analyzing personal data. We capture performances of over 20 million racers and athletes every year and use live data to spark emotions. MYLAPS. Experience progress.
Welcome back live to SimTV. Here now with third place finisher Adam Blocker in the 74 car. Adam, kind of a wild race, especially towards the end there. Saw a lot of drivers fighting some understeer, a lot of drivers fighting oversteer. A podium for you tonight. Got to be pretty thrilled with how that turned out for you.
Yeah, had a shot at the win because got past Dave Adams and then just messed up turn 1 and 2, and he allowed him to get back past me. I think if I would have held it, I could have won, but I'll definitely take the podium considering our long run pace was all over the place. Like we were, in order to get to turn the corners, we were having to fight it from spinning on the straights. We were definitely, happy that we didn't have a super long run at the end. It was only like 25 laps, but yeah, all of the power slide guys, we were fighting the car all night. So definitely glad to get third out of that.
Talk to me a little bit about the multiple groups here at Texas, because we saw a lot of side-by-side battling. Which lane was your car better in, and how hard is it to make a pass on the outside lane?
At the very beginning of the run, I think the inside was a little bit better, but and you could get, at all stages in the run, I think you could make the inside of 3 and 4 work. Like at one point I went 3 wide down the inside for the lead, so... But in 1 and 2, just like there's so much of a banking drop off on the exit of 1 and 2. If you're on the low side, I was having it was like you have a lot of steering angle because you push, and then all of a sudden when it flattens out, you get snap oversteer. So For me, I was really working the high line in 1 and 2, and once the tires wore out, like I said, we were fighting the car, so just running the high line was better on the tires, and we couldn't really pass anybody, but it kept your momentum up so you couldn't get past. So,
any final thoughts leaving Texas in general for this race and moving forward to the next round?
Just happy to get another podium, or my first podium for the year, I guess. Second top 5 in a row. Starting to build momentum. Laguna Seca should be good for me. Normally pretty good at the road courses. And then we got ISM, which is short track, and then Mid-Ohio. So hopefully this will be a good run for me to get some points. So, and just want to thank all my teammates for the hard work we put in. And thank you guys for calling the race. And thank Joe Branch and all the admins for putting on the league.
Absolutely. Adam Blocker led some laps tonight. A third place result for the 74. Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, thank you.
Second driver in the race is going to be the driver of the number 144. That is Christopher Demerit. Christopher, kind of a wild race out there. You led the most laps tonight of anybody, but wasn't meant to be. Almost had the 88 there in the closing laps. What'd you need to get by the 88?
Needed to pit for new tires on that last caution, really. That, or I needed to figure out how to get good runs behind him, like a few laps before I actually did, because I started to make steam at the end, and I knew that I had a long run car, so I needed to wait for the tires to equalize, but just ran out of time, really.
A race where you lead the most laps, does this feel like a disappointment walking away, or are you still pretty happy with the top 5, all things considered?
All things considered, it's a pretty good result. I'm kind of annoyed at the end, especially for that strategy call and how close I was to getting to Adam at the end, but I mean, I can't complain about a P2, and it was a good race throughout.
Final thoughts leaving Texas and heading into a couple road course races on the next couple rounds, or is that something you're looking forward to, or you're definitely more of an oval side of things?
More of an oval side, so I'm gonna. My goal is to have fun for the road courses, so I think that'll be not necessarily winning, but I'll have fun.
All right. Well, Christopher Demerit had some fun tonight. Finished second place after leading the most laps. Christopher, thanks for talking to us. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.
And Ray Kingsbury is going to join us now. Ray Kingsbury looks like he finished down in 13th place. Ray, not the win that we saw you have at Pocono, but some drama there in the late stages, some wall contact. What happened there? And talk to us about your race tonight.
Yeah, we had, I think, the best car. The Spark VR machine was just amazing. I mean, Chad put it on pole. John and I were way out in front of the field pretty much if it went through green on that middle cycle there. Everybody else had to make 2 stops. We only had to make 1, and we had the pace to pass them. So it's unfortunate it didn't go green, and I don't know like what happened in the middle there, but we made a mistake pitting into that last caution, or not the last caution, but the last one after that green flag run, and kind of blew the box and lost a few spots. And we're just kind of chilling there in a little bit of the pack, and Josh got pushed up into me with the aero wash, and it took the front nose off the car. Luckily, it was still drivable, and then I was trying to wheel it to get back up past him because I knew I could get a top 3 if I could just get by him, because everybody else was pretty much all over the place, and a little bit too much weight jacker in it and lost it in the corner, and it got up into the wall. So that pretty much sealed the fate of the race for me, but happy to finish, I guess.
Thinking big picture towards the championship, kind of reducing your bad days and making them okay days. Is this one that you got circled in the past now that could have been worse than it was, or is this something that should have been better than it was?
I mean, it could always be worse than it was, but I mean, that one pit stop mistake cost me probably, 9 spots looking at this. I think I easily would have been in a contention for the win. Definitely wanted to do better. We had the best car on the track, so, and none of our guys finished in the top 10, so.
Final thoughts leaving Texas and heading to a road course next week.
I'm horrible at road courses, so I wish we could do another round at Texas, but Frank is really fast on the road. He used to be a DWC driver, so maybe he'll be able to take it home for us.
All right, well, Ray Kingsbury, top 15 tonight. Not quite what he was looking for, but still 13th for the 25. Thanks, Ray.
Thanks.
Looks like we got a couple other drivers to join us here. I think we'll talk to Henry Bennett while we got him in here. So Henry Bennett finished 4th tonight in his 007. Henry, a top 5 result. Got to be pretty happy with that. But I think the story tonight was the restarts were a struggle for you in that 007. But first of all, talk to us about your top 5 finish and how you got yourself into position for that strong result.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Good qualifying, which was unexpected because we didn't We haven't worked on the qualifying set for about 2 years now for these 1.5, so that was a surprise. But our race set was awful. We were like breaking loose on exit, pushing mid corner. Yeah, we had massive drop off in speed over the stint. So fourth is a miracle, to be honest.
And of course, talking about those restarts, it seemed like that was kind of the weak spot tonight. Was it the gearing? Was it just you being extra careful on the restarts? Talk to us about the challenges of restarting here at Texas.
Well, I hadn't tested the starts and restarts at all. And then on the initial start, I almost spun up the rear wheels and almost span in front of the entire field. So that probably scared me a little bit, and I took it easy from then on. Tried starting in second gear for the next couple of restarts. That didn't work, but that would drop me back. And then I tried first gear again, and I had to be really easy on the throttle because the rear wheels would spin up with basically because the track was really hot, and I think our first gear was maybe a bit too short. But it didn't cause any major problems. I mean, I dropped back a little bit, but you can catch up with the draft.
All right, well, Henry Bennett comes home top 5 tonight. Henry, congratulations on that. We'll look forward to seeing you next week at, I think we're going to Laguna Seca next week, so we'll see you at the road course.
Cheers.
All right, and last but not least tonight, Dave Adams, who won the race tonight in the number 88. What a finish that was. Maybe a little closer than you wanted, Dave, but talk to us about those closing laps and trying to hold off the driver that led the most laps tonight right behind you.
Yeah, it definitely had a little bit too much front wing in it, so later in the run, it really got tricky coming off 2 and 4, and probably let it carry out to the wall a little bit too far and got the right front into it a little bit, which slowed me down and definitely let him make me worry for a little bit.
Talk to us about the race, because it seemed like 150 laps, not a super long race, but there was a bunch of yellows that kind of split up the race into smaller segments. So was your car better on the long run, or was it definitely a better short run car? Is that how you got to the lead? And talk to us about that climb forward for you in that 88.
Yeah, from the get-go, when we started doing the setup, we were thinking long run. We were thinking, really hot track, and if we can kind of run the low line decently and then move up to the high line, anybody that stays in that low line, we should be able to blow by. And the first couple long green runs, I think that's how I made most of my spots up.
Any final thoughts leaving Texas? Again, we want to congratulate you for the win here with the Triptacular Memories 225, but heading to a road course next week, do you think you can go maybe 2 for 4 at the road course?
I'd like to think so. It's, the Sadie guys are really hitting on the setups lately, and I think we should be really competitive.
All right, Dave. Well, thanks for your time. Congratulations on the victory. Go ahead and celebrate that. We'll see you next week at Laguna Seca.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for the interviews tonight, Finian. What a race that was. Some drama towards the beginning, some drama towards the end. But again, the results showing that Dave Adams was the winner by 0.2 of a second. What a spectacular race all around.
Yeah, and it really was, I keep saying it really was significantly closer there at the end. Almost went into Demerit's hands, and I'm sure he probably feels like he earned it after what he did early in the race. But, it could all be kind of traced back to that little spin that happened to him that put him back in traffic and was never really able to get back in the lead, at least dominantly. And speaking of being in the lead, too, Jonathan Goka, he finished back down in 17th. He actually retired. I'm not sure why. I think he had an incident that took him out of it. But he was in a contention for the win and unfortunately wasn't able to do so.
That's going to do it for the Triptacular Memories 225 presented by the MYLAPS Indy Elite Series and the Coca-Cola bottling plant of Kokomo. Well, if you're drinking a Coke, why don't you go grab yourself another one, because we're not done tonight. At 9:40 p.m., the Yinzer Graphics Unreal Tour Truck Series heads off to Myrtle Beach for the final round in their regular season. The playoffs loom. Who can get themselves in? You're going to find out in about a half an hour. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in just a little bit. Have a great night.